Hey, good evening, everybody. Today is April 1st, April Fool's Day, 1st of April 2018. It is Sunday night. We have Angel with us from America. We have Jay from America. We have Patricia from the UK. Everybody, today. Oh my goodness, I'm really sorry. Hang on. 1st of April 2008. I turned that off. I don't understand why that went on. How embarrassing. Anyway, where was I? We've got to, I've done Jay and Angel from America. Oh, there's Astral from the UK, Patricia from the UK, Levkungfu from the UK, and I suppose our special guest today is Roxanne, who is also from the UK. So good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hello.
Lev hasn't said good morning. Whenever you speak to Lev, he always says morning. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is.
My live voice changes to hello.
Angel has to say good morning because it is good morning to him when we meet up with him.
Yes.
Anyway, it's really nice. I say we've got a new person on, Roxanne, so that's nice. She lives London, and yeah, she's been coming in our chat room loads, and she was having her own hangout the other day, and she said some very nice things about sun and moon. So I have to say thanks very much, Roxanne. Now we've lost her. Roxanne.
Is she there?
Roxanne, where have you gone?
Roxanne, don't put on the red light.
Good start then, guys, isn't it? Oh dear. Roxanne, come back.
I don't know.
Trying to hear you guys. Sorry if you can hear me.
That's it. Hello, my God.
I'm not hearing anything right now.
Now we can hear you. You're good.
We can hear you.
Okay.
It's all good.
Can you hear us now?
Okay, guys, I'm going to try and drop out and come back.
Okay. We've just been talking perfectly well to her before we actually pressed the live button. Well, just at the very end, I suppose it was a little bit. But that's sod's law, isn't it? Anyway, Angel. Yep. Angel, how are you? What have you been doing?
Well, on one scale, I've been trying to pay attention to what the Nazca lines are telling me as far as the configuration of the pyramids, because I don't have the ability to actually explore them, and many of the hand-drawn things are usually fabrications of what people want it to be and what it not actually physically is. And on the other side of the coin, I've been spending my other part of the days on my personal life digging through things. And, you know, I don't know if you've seen it, but on YouTube, there's the people who have like 100 items in their life, and they live with just 100 items and they get by with it. I kind of feel I'm in that race, although I want to kind of bring it down to like, you know, 20 cubic yards of stuff instead of physical items, but trimming down my world. I mean, I have so many physically large things like plants that I don't really need to drag from one house to another and stuff. So I'm just thinning my life down. And I do love that.
She's back. Roxanne is back.
I'm back. I'm back. I had to come back on my phone, guys. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Angel loves your rug.
Put the laptop out of the game and come back on the phone. So here I am.
Angel was just saying he loves your map.
Sorry?
Angel was just saying he loves your map.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm still on a mission to find out where it came from originally, whose map it is. I guess I'll find out one day, hopefully.
What are you doing, Roxanne?
I'm trying my best to kind of clamp my phone into some kind of decent position because I don't plan to hold it for the next however long I'm on. So, yeah, this is my effort. You guys will have to bear with me, though. Sorry.
Yeah, so Angel, you're on the move then. Angel. Oh, Where's everybody going when I'm talking to them?
Find that
May I
so
take
strange.
time to say something?
Go for it, Jay.
It's okay?
Yeah,
Karen?
go on. Yep, go.
Yes, I just wanted to say to everyone in the chat room or anyone who hears this show about what my angle is with what I give my information, because Karen gave me a very good idea to explain why I'm giving my etymology. So basically, I want to help people to code the words that are right in front of them. So when it's a flat earth or a round earth issue or a diet issue, a mental mind control issue, you have someone showing you words that relate to your body and how the words form together. They actually do something to you when you say them and when you watch them. So just to be clear, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So whenever I add it in, it's from that angle. I yield the floor.
Yeah, what was the words we said? You're trying to show people that everything is wrong.
Everything, I'm trying to show people that everything actually relates directly to our bodies and symbolism, so that when we are being confused and saying certain words and seeing things the wrong way, we're going the opposite direction of where we need to go because of the words. And they get us stuck in the confusion.
Yeah, we're just making that clear. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
And Angel, you're back now. So Angel, you're on the move.
I am. I'm thinning my life down because I got to move from one point to another, and I can't take everything. I don't want to take everything.
Oh, so you're having a big clear out then? You're not clearing out any pyramids?
No. But I have stuff because my house has kind of been like a big garage. Honestly, I'm a hoarder, and anytime somebody says, "Hey, do you want this?" I'd be like, "Yeah, sure." I mean, if I walk through my house, it's like a museum of misfit toys, and it's just that's kind of what it is. But they're useless misfit toys.
Things that you might need in the future.
Well, no, it's things I'll never get again. I have
Got any old globes?
like this. Yeah. I do. I actually have a beach ball that you blow up and it's a globe. I'm going to take that with me and trash this globe because honestly, it blows up and poof, it's a globe, but they can deflate and fit into a small spot. So it's going. The physical globe isn't. But I do want to keep one for reference, especially. Well, it is a good reference thing. So that's really kind of the world I work in.
That we don't live on it.
Well, I don't know if you've seen it, and it wasn't Jeranism, but there was another a company in Italy or something like that. It was did a voiceover and words over that they just did 6 proofs that the Earth is pretty dang flat. They did a laser proof. They did a point-to-point microwave dish over I think it was like a 60-mile stretch where microwaves won't go through water. You can prove that with just like a water tank and microwave. They get absorbed within the water. And they did a point-to-point microwave over a body of water, and they did it at like 10 centimeters above. Actually, I'm sorry, it was 6 meters above the water surface because they figured that would be enough for the flow. But it was enough that technically the water surface should have been like 100 and something meters because of the 8 inches. Well, 9.6 meters since it was all in metric, since it was over in that side of the plane. And they did a half a dozen other things, and all of them kind of reference that we are on a flat surface. And these are all repeatable experiments if people want to do it. People do the thing with their cell phone on an airplane and left and right and left and right. I mean, it's pretty. I'm past the point of you'd have to prove to me at this point that it's round because I'm pretty on board with the fact that it's flat.
Yeah.
The fact that we have cameras, telescopes that we can bring to a beach, and you can see a boat go out of over the curve. And you can whip out your telescope and poof, it ain't over the curve. I mean, it's it's not. There's very little doubt in my mind at this point that it is pretty dang flat.
Angel. We agree with you there. Yeah,
And
we
I
have a
know-
circle. We have a circle of light. A circle of that we see. That's the only circle there is.
Right. And there are other people, you know, names that thou shall not be spoken, that have been doing pictures and videos of like taking pictures of Ireland from the UK. And what, you know, he was trying to take pictures of the Isle of Man and wound up getting pictures of Ireland. So these are repeatable on the right weather and patterns being in place, experiments that kind of document that we are pretty dang flat. The people with, was it 6 miles of or 60 miles of curvature across one of the lakes over in Canada or something like that. I mean, all these things left and right are documented, repeatable, that it's pretty dang flat. I mean, it's past the point of, it's kind of like the moon things. At first, honestly, I was a big moon believer. I was on board to go see the Challenger liftoff. I think it was the Challenger, that the first explosion, the one in Florida. I was on board to go see that. I should have been at that launch, except for I was a bad boy at the time and wound up not being able to go. But I would have been there. I was really on board with it. I have stamps, tickets. I can show you something that I have that very few other people have on Earth. Patches for all of the moon missions. And honestly, when I acquired these patches, I was not into the Illuminati circle either. It was more than a decade ago. And I wound up learning more about the Illuminati, and then turned and looked at these patches that I have, and the symbolism is all over them. And that, honestly, I was on the flat plane before I was onto the NASA hoax, because kind of they go together hand in hand. You know, and thanks to other, you know, there are many things out there that pretty much show that the NASA hoax kind of, you know, like I said, they go hand in hand. The NASA hoax bleeds into flat Earth, and if it's a flat Earth, then the NASA is a hoax, and you can see it. And the you know, it's the preponderance of evidence is on. They would have to prove to me otherwise at this point, because the preponderance of evidence that I've seen pretty much goes to show that we are in a huge mockingbird media world. They have generated this lie in the 1500s, 14-ish, that we were on this circular little globy thing, and they just force feed this down our throat left and right. And anyone who speaks up against it, they, you know, throw out things that up until we had, like I was saying, well, in the past weeks, up until recently, people didn't have telescopes of their own. Now for $200, you can get a telescope better than Galileo had. And up until recently, we didn't have this technology at our fingertips, and we couldn't disprove. We had to trust what we were told. Even when I used to go to the Griffith Observatory. In fact, I probably will before I move. I think I want to do that one more time before I move. But when you go up there, you're not in control of the telescope that you're staring through. Somebody else points it to you, and they dictate to you what you're seeing. It's kind of like the whole 9/11 thing. When somebody dictates to you what you're seeing, they plant a mental picture, and then you see a visual image of what they've already planted. And then they leave out the facts about Building 7 and things that would, like, throw a brick through the window that they've drawn on you, because, hey, this doesn't fit the picture. But if they are allowed to dictate the image, and I will tell you, my whole awakening, and I'm sorry I'm sidestepping, but I think 9/11 is one of the biggest ways that you can see you've been lied to, is they show the image of the two towers, one coming down and then the other. And then they show Building 7 right next to one of the buildings in Las Vegas, and they show them side by side coming down. And they say, oh, look, these two buildings look nothing like these two buildings that come down.
May I just add, most of the teenagers nowadays, the ones that my daughters are connected to, most of them they're open to suggestion that 9/11 was an inside job of some sort, you know?
Yeah, I think we've just lost Angel for a moment, just in full fled of what he was saying. He's frozen. Yeah, 9/11's a big thing for me. I did 3 years on 9/11, and then suddenly Flat Earth's there, and I thought, no, not something else to go and investigate. And then a few months later, I was doing it myself. But we'll come back to Angel. I don't know what happened there.
May I chime in about 9/11? In hip hop too, there's a rapper called Papoose. He's an underground rapper. Really important. They're waking up and talking about it too. So for those who are into hip hop, and research your rappers and support them when they speak out.
Hello?
I'm here.
No idea where I was lost.
Go back.
How about now?
Looks like we've
You're
got
back.
2 of you, Angel.
Yeah, we've got
Can I see you
Coming
now?
back in,
got 3
coming
of
back in
him
2
now.
dimensions.
That would be 2 cherubim, 2 angels.
And if you hear an echo, you're the reason why. So mute one. Are we good?
We had 3 angels for a moment.
My physical computer lost connectivity. So I came back on through my iPhone, and then my computer regained connectivity, and I was on twice. The third one was probably my first one that locked up.
In weird connections, man.
Yeah, that's what you say. That's what you say.
I didn't plan it. It wasn't totally, but I have a backup machine right here just in case. But
Hey, but listen, talking about these things that we ought maybe not talk too deep in the subject matter of, these things that we're talking about, these conspiracies and stuff. We need to be careful, because we need to be careful. Yeah, but we still need to be careful, even if it's like something that happened a long time ago, It's not my channel, but I mean, I'm just saying we need to be careful, because people are losing, over lesser things.
One thing bleeds into another, I guess, is what I'm saying, because when you woke up to the fact that you've been lied to a little, then you start questioning other things, and you learn that you've been lied to a lot. And that's really the thing that makes where when you first wake up, you're not sleeping at night and you're worried about stuff until you take it into reality that we're living in a simulated matrix. Welcome to the show.
Roxanne, before we came on, we were just talking to you. You're a sort of fairly new person. Explain a little bit more about yourself then, what it is that you are trying to do. And you said we're all flat earthers. You started off by, just a minute, one common thing we've got together is that we don't believe we're on a ball. Do you remember we were talking?
Yes. That is the one common denominator that I believe connects us all, that we all agree that we don't live on a spinning ball, that we all agree that the earth is not a globe, that we all agree that the globe narrative is a deception, and then we go from there. Everything else after that is more of and above where we're starting there, but that encompasses with stages of awakening and everything else that comes with it. It doesn't happen just like that, but yeah, we all agree on the fact that we don't live on a globe.
Yeah, and so what sort of, like, I think that Astral or Lev was asking you, what got you into flat earth?
So I can give you a bit of a timeline of how I've gotten to be where I am at mentally with how I see everything now. Back in 2008, if I go back a bit further, 2007 is when I had my second child, my son. And he wasn't an easy birth. He was a 10-pound 2-ounce baby, so he was a big boy.
Wow.
Labour was slightly intensive, not gonna lie. But what doesn't kill you make you stronger. So yeah, I had my son, and with that, I became a mum to 2 children. And within, I'd say a year, Within a year of that, I started to become open to. I've always, put it like this: the first telescope I had, I was a young child. I looked through a telescope as a child. I always wondered about the moon. Nothing that I was taught ever quite sat right with me. I always questioned things growing up, and once I had 2 children, it really just started as a thing to do in the evening, really, with my spare time, and I would kind of peruse over things. And before I knew it, I'd stumbled across this theory about Nibiru and Planet X. And I looked into some of Zachariah Sitchin's stuff, and I was kind of trying to use my discernment on it. I was open to the suggestion of it. Was I completely sold on it? No. So I will be honest, I racked around for about 1.5 years, 2 years, kind of looking into it. And then they made a couple of outlandish predictions that didn't come to fruition. So I didn't write it off, but it was always there in the back of my mind. After that, I kind of moved on to more governmental things like 9/11. I started watching kind of Alex Jones channels, and they kind of planted the seed of FEMA camps and depopulation. So that kind of spurred me off when taking my children to the library for them to get their knowledge up. At this point, I'm just going to span back to what I was saying before. I equate it to states of like alpha beta states. So in 2007 and 8, when I started looking into this, I would call myself a deep stage 9. And, then to kind of lift myself into the next level, I would research the next thing, become open to that suggestion. So by the time I was looking at 9/11 and FEMA camps, I would equate myself to maybe a 7. Started watching Alex Jones, started watching RV. They started making me open to suggestion that maybe there was more to it than met the eye, starting to read between the lines, maybe not see things as they were presented to me, looking maybe behind the inner workings of things. And then saw a couple of things and read a couple of things and looked into what had happened in the past, things that couldn't be denied, mixing that in with 30 odd years of growing up and using my own discernment and making my own little list of documented facts as I've gone through my life and traveled around the world myself. I got to the stage of looking at, shootings, false flag events, obviously governments saying it's someone else and they've done it to themselves to create.
Not say too much about that one though, Roxanne.
So, all right, yeah, sorry. So at that point, I got to about 2015, and then I stumbled across Flat Earth, and initially kind of wrote it off, but just before I kind of wrote it off, I kind of niggle away at myself. I kind of like to think through things all the way down the path, all the options. I kind of try and work it out until I'm satisfied I've done as much thinking about it as I can. And when I initially went to kind of dismiss it, I said, well, I'll just, it's quite easy. I don't need to prove Flat Earth. I just need to just reconfirm where I live. And when I tried to reconfirm where I lived, I couldn't. So the little bit of smidgen of time I was going to dedicate to proving to myself where I lived, it got greater and greater and greater and snowballed to the point where it's up to someone to prove to me that I don't live on Flat Earth. Now, I'm not researching anymore. I've done research for the last 3 years on this one particular subject, and I've gone way off piste with my research, way off piste with it. I found myself researching things that a normal person wouldn't just go off researching, but because one thought leads to another, you find yourself going down these paths, and you realize that you start researching on things where you discover that there's plots, there's things that go on. It's just the list is infinite almost. I mean, we could be here for lifetimes and talking about how the lies and deceit are meshed into every part of our everyday life. So that's how I've got to here. If someone had said 3 weeks ago that I'd be here now talking to people on camera and putting my face to it and putting myself right out like that, I would have said they were having a laugh, but yet here I am. I have to credit some of the other people I watch. There's one individual, Jamie Brown, who actually gave me him individually, and Rebecca's Way and yourself have all given me the courage to kind of do this and kind of join in, putting more voices into the wave of awareness. So that's how I'm here now.
Can you speak? Sorry, can you speak Cockney?
All right, mate. All right, guys.
Are you having a bubble bath? Are you having a bath? Are you having a bubble?
You're having a giraffe, mate. You're having a giraffe.
Yeah, I'm having a bubble bath at the moment.
Jay, what's your version?
Sorry?
Is he there? Yeah, so I was asking Jay to chime in on his Cockney.
You mean on my Cockney slang? You mean like my Gamecocks in Columbia, South Carolina? They have the Gamecocks for the university mascot. You know what I mean? And here we have the freaking Hawkeyes as their mascot. And it's the freaking Eye of Horus. Do you know what I mean?
It's time to get up the apples and pears, Jay.
Well, I wanted to chime in. Roxanne, you said a lot of beautiful things. So go ahead, Astral.
No, but Jay, sorry, I was going to say, do you know anything about Cockney rhyming slang? Because it's intriguing, and I'm pretty sure that you don't know anyone would be, knowledgeable for you, to maybe hear about it. Because I'm pretty sure that Roxanne knows a bit. Maybe I'm just guessing. You're from London, aren't you? A little bit.
Yeah.
All right, you know more than I do. Anyway, I'm a northerner.
I'm of Scottish descent though, so I'm only, I'm English by default. I was just born in England. Not actually from my heritage isn't from England at all. So my knowledge on Cockney rhyming slang is somewhat petite.
Right. Well, I bet there's plenty of people in the chat room that know a phrase or two. I'm sure. I've not got anything to see the chat room at the moment. I'm in the bath.
I have connections, Astral. Sorry, go ahead, Karen. Go ahead, Karen.
He's in the bath yesterday, or the other day we were having a hang. Not yesterday, Friday. You were in the bath. You're in the bath again, Astral.
He is.
He is. He's gone muted now.
I'm just laughing. I'm thinking, God. Oh yeah.
Just about to say something, and then I know that he wants to say something. But we've all got to come together, Roxanne. That's what this is about, isn't it? It's all realizing there's more of us, and we're all coming together. I mean, maybe it's a bit slower than we want.
Sharing is caring.
Very quickly, before Jay says something, what was that saying you were saying about being in a box? If you can see our reality, say that. Jay will love it.
The mouse in a box?
Yeah.
Okay, so you put a mouse in a box the size of your living room. The mouse is probably going to work out within its lifetime quite easily that it lives in a box. I'm talking about a see-through perspex box where it's still aware of its kind of, there's some kind of ambiguity with it. It's not enclosed, no windows. Do you know what I mean? There is some kind of something with it. So you would then equate that further on and say, okay, you put the mouse inside of a box the size of the UK. Probably within a couple of generations, it's going to detect its parameters. If you put a mouse in a box the size of the whole of the United States of America, how many generations will it have to get through before it realizes where its parameters are? And then again, if you put them in a parameter that's the size of our parameter, the one that we believe that we are enclosed in the ice wall, on whatever dimension it is, I equate that to where human beings are now. We're almost at that generation where we've gone far enough down the road now and gone far enough out to realize some of us have kind of clocked, okay, I think there's some deception going on here, guys. This isn't making sense, guys. We're like the mice that have got to the edge of the parameter, and then maybe it's just a thought. Maybe that's what the reset is. Maybe that's what the reset is. We get so far, then they just depopulate everything and go, right, start again. The most important lineages only know the truth. Those minions don't know anything. Just the oldest and most connected lineages are the ones that are the most elite, the ones that are most in power. How many of us can trace our lineage back even more than 500 years? Hey? I wish I could claim to that fame. Boy, oh boy. If only I could talk to my ancestors, to the people I'm connected to, even if it was as much as 3,000 years ago. Imagine that, right?
Imagine knowing your own family's heritage for 3,000 years. I think if you did, you'd probably be in that 3%. You would be one of the elites. You would be one of the powerful. None of us can claim. I really would wish I could meet someone that could properly claim that fame and say, right, look, here's my lineage, 5,500 years worth of lineage. Here you go, bang. I'd sit through a 6-hour seminar to hear that. Okay, I'd be at the front of the queue. I'd be queuing up all night to see that for real. But that's kept behind closed doors. That's what all the cloak and dagger crap's about. We need to be kept away from that original line of information. And all of this facade is just a cover up to keep us away from that. That's what I feel. That's how I feel.
Yeah, really nicely put.
I'm
I
going to
like
stay
that.
away from the word believe, by the way. I'm just going to say that's how I feel. I'm going to use that. I'm going to stay on the fence with my wording because I know that I can be offensive with some of the wording that I use. I don't like to use group tactics, movement, group, because I know that some people don't like to attach themselves to movement. But understand in any of my videos, if you've ever watched any of them, and I say the word movement, I'm talking about a movement of consciousness. Joining the movement of consciousness, the movement from being asleep to awake. Whatever stage of consciousness you're at, whether you're at alpha, beta, state 9, and you are properly asleep, but you're just kind of, or whether you're at 4, 3, or like you, 2, 1, right up there. You're like way ahead of us, man. So, yeah. Sorry, I went off on tandem again there.
No, that's great. Thank you so much, Roxanne. I just wanted to add, because I know that Jay wants to come in here, but today I was in my car. I've lived around here for many years, and I can see that the trees have grown. I mean, we just got to look at the size of the trees that we're living with. I mean, if you live in an area for long enough, you can see the trees have grown.
Yeah.
But these trees are growing now. So these trees aren't, what are they from maybe 100 years ago, Victorian time? So where's all the other trees gone then? Where are all the trees? The trees should be bigger. If we've been here for thousands of years, then our trees should be bigger because I can see the trees growing. I've been living in this area since the 1990s, so I can see the trees have grown. In the 20, 30 years I've been here. So if we've been here for thousands of years, then there should be some really big trees. I know we've got the redwoods. I know that there are some forests. There are a few forests that have got really big trees. But where's the trees? There should be a lot bigger trees around. That's my opinion. So, and again, they did reset us, by the way. They reset us in the 60s. That's when they brought the globe in. They didn't maybe whatever the word is, population the people, but they did set us. They made us into a globe in the 1960s. It set us there. Anyway, what did you want to say, Jay?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Beautifully put, Roxanne and Karen. That was awesome, too. Talking about mice. So I'm going to speak once again with symbolism, if that's okay, with etymology to help undo mind control with words, because the words are a symbol of the moon. Now, Akbar in Sumerian means mouse. Mouse is an anagram for the moon, and it's in your brain. Your domestic part of your brain, the moon rules that. So in French, nous, when we say nous, it's moose, moon. They're all anagrams of the mouse, a symbol. So when we have a mouse trap, mice are silver. When we kill the mice, we have to be very careful, first of all, because that's another, in my opinion, it's another way to get us to be divided from nature. We're killing the rodents. Master Splinter of the Ninja Turtles, Splinter, Mount Ararat. Your rat and Splinter are Arat or the earth. So when we get into the symbols of mice, and when she said this, right, you get your Mickey Mouse, Disney. This is a symbol of your moon energy. We have a lunate bone, very important. I'll slow it down. This is very important to know about everybody. You have a luna bone in your body, right? So it might sound a bit out there, but when you're watching Mickey Mouse in the box of the cube Earth as the first element in geometry, when you're watching the Mickey Mouse, they're giving you this magnetism. It's a magnetic way of mind controlling you with a cartoon and colors and sounds and vibration, like what the earth and nature do with the wind and the birds chirping. Pew! That would be a laser sound in damn Star Wars. Pew! It's the birds made that shit, not damn Lucas or locust. Sorry, let me go back to this mouse thing though, sorry. Movement, very important. Movement is the body. We are all dancers. We have a bowel movement. Your body is getting rid of all the crap that's in it every day. So when we research about the real earth, what we're doing on this panel is we're getting the crap out, the bowel movement. Yeah, your body can do it, so we should be able to do it too. So I yield the floor.
Wow. Brilliant stuff. Can I ask a question? I want to ask a question. An apology.
Yeah.
The word truth, can you break that word down for me? I've been wanting to ask you
Yes.
for days. The word truth, can you break that down for me?
Oh, for sure. Love to. Yeah. So truth relates to tutu. In ballet, we wear the tutu. It's an anagram for Taurus. When you have a blue tooth.
In Hawaii, just so you know, the word tutu in Hawaii, my auntie lives in Hawaii. Tutu means grandma.
Oh, okay. Please subscribe to my channel and we have to keep talking. And yes, thank you. Wow.
And in some parts of South America as well, they refer to tutu as the grandmother, the wise old lady of the family.
Oh, the wise.
In fact, it doesn't mean grandma. I don't think it actually means grandma. It means wise old, the eldest lady of the family, grandmama, tutu.
You just put a big hole in ballet. You just opened a huge symbol, Roxanne, because, okay, I researched the tutu as the anagram for Taurus, right? And when the tutu goes around the woman's waist, it's a symbol of Gaia. That's the earth. And then when she's dancing in her grandmother's wisdom, she's spiraling and turning as a symbol of grandma or Mother Earth. That is so awesome. Well,
So
tutu relates to,
that's the truth right there, you know. Wow.
yes. So ballet is the truth, but they're unfortunately breaking the girls' toes in the point shoes. Be careful, ballerinas, because they used to break geishas' toes and have them walking weird to be obedient to your kings and queens.
Yeah. I'm right there with you, you know. I'm right there with you. We're so young. Yep. I'm so pleased I'm managing to speak to you. So pleased.
Oh, it's an honor because yeah, we all have Taurus fields. We all have the truth. We all have the ability to see it. And when you know the word, you'll be your own truther. You'll be awesome in your own word play because King Tut, the Tut is Taurus or grandma. Well, who rides the bull but Europa? Europa, the bull, grandma, color something.
Something before I forget as well. Exactly what you're saying and what I'm asking about truth and the tutu and everything. Something I touched on earlier on today. The desensitizing to lies and deception. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, the first person in your life to lie to us all are our mothers. Our own mothers are the people that lied to us. The very first person to tell us lies right to our face are our mothers. How many of us have memories of our mummies telling us the tooth fairy is going to give you money when you put the tooth under the pillow? How many mummies prime their children up all year and tell them about Santa and naughty and nice and write him a nice letter. And if you've been a good child, he'll bring you everything you need. And we're going to make you milk and cookies. And uncle, daddy, or brother or sister or, godfather, godmother is going to eat and, drink the milk. And we're going to style it out. And then we get to a weird phase, right? And I just want to quickly say this. We get to this. Everyone knows how to open it. Look, there's a tooth fairy. Look, there's Santa. But it's the closure of this lie that starts the madness of adolescence, okay? It's just as the child, my son's at the age now, if I had have lied to him, which I didn't, I just want to put that on the record. He's never in his life thought Santa existed. My children, even before I was awake, I didn't feed them up with that madness because my parents were pretty off the back with me. They didn't prime me up to let me down. So as far as my children were concerned, they weren't awoke, but they're at that age at about 9, 10, 11 years old where the parent knows, the child knows full well no Santa exists. The kid doesn't want to admit that they know Santa doesn't exist because it's less presence. The parent's putting it off, okay? So in this phase, you will have a family that are sitting around a table that are lying to each other and it's okay. That's major desensitization.
Can I ask a few questions?
See, coming with flat Earth, it depends on how deep you went down the rabbit hole. When you come across flat Earth, you also realize that most of the religions are a fallacy. And when you look back across it, in my personal opinion, currently right now, it's the Roman Catholic religion is the rein puller of many of the religions. And
well, no one tells the
they
Vatican
who decided,
what to do they? No one tells the Vatican what to do. You know,
that's what I'm saying. And then
they're
from
a
there,
law
things
unto
echo down.
themselves. They're a law unto themselves. You know,
True. They are one of the 3 city-states, and that's a whole nother ball of wax. But what I'm getting into it was they who decided that Sunday was the day of worship. Prior to that, and in my personal opinion, Saturday, Sabbath day, Saturday should be the day of worship. That they were the ones who dictated that the earth was round. They are the ones who dictated that January 1st be when the calendar starts its rotation, as opposed to, ironically enough, today, April 1st, April Fools, when, ironically enough, this April Fools actually falls on Ishtar Day. And we could get into who Ishtar is, because Ishtar is mentioned in the Bible and talks about how Ishtar came down to earth and turned a chicken into a rabbit, and hence why we have rabbits that lay an egg. And they can talk about how we dye the eggs because they were dyeing the eggs in the blood of the sacrifice. But that's a whole pagan worship thing.
what scriptures
And we're not going to.
everyone in here subscribe to, by the way?
Don't we have New Year? Don't we have New Year now then?
Don't we what?
Don't we have New Year now?
Right. New Year is currently January 1st.
Yeah,
but,
as the corrupted version, but the true ancient version, is it not now?
Right.
April the 1st.
Ironically enough, today, April 1st, also happens to wind up being Easter, Ishtar Day, because it is it was based the calendar year, and as far as I can see, and this is all part of my functioning, and it all goes back to, if you've looked at it, that Ithaca Terra device at the cool thing that they found in the Mediterranean Sea, that they it is a mechanical device, kind of like how the Aztec rock, which I also appreciate how it also
it's like a kind of a clock, isn't it? What they found and rebuilt.
They're calendars.
Yeah,
but the thing
exactly.
is,
Sorry.
The big picture is that all of them are calendars, and all of them, as far as I can tell, and I'd love if somebody proves me wrong, because I'll update my information, all of them use, ironically enough, today, April 1st, and more to the point, Easter, because it is one of the days that today is, I think, the day you can stand an egg on its end, or something like that. It is.
Come on, Angel, you don't believe that shit, do you?
No, I've done it. It happens to be when the sun, the sun is like above us and shit like that.
Angel, come on, man. Anybody can do it. It's a little trick.
Well,
really.
You don't have to use the salt. It happens to be the magnetic pull, because I do believe we live in a magnetic world. And we can get into that whole bit, but it has to be that today is the pole when it happens to be due north, due up. It's fine. We don't have to argue about that. Standing the egg on.
No, okay, that's fair enough. I mean, if it works for people, it works again and again and again. Then, and I can see it, verify it. Hey, I'll believe it. But I haven't seen that.
When everyone's got a second, is it all right if I ask a question, just real quick?
Go, please.
Yeah.
What scriptures does everyone in here subscribe to? I'm really interested to know, because I'm on discovery at the moment. I've gone.
I would love to share. Yeah, Job 38:31. Yeah, Job 38:31, Orion's belt and the Pleiades, because it relates to what Angel's talking about with Ishtar and the morning star Venus.
Right.
She rules the Pleiades.
All of this,
yeah, go ahead.
Ironically enough,
Someone said about the Ethiopian
Ironically-
one, it's got 88 books in it or something. Someone today
Right,
said
what I-
about, I don't know if I've said that right. At the moment, I'm on the King James version.
That's good.
It's in
That's
the
good.
King James. It's in the King James. Ironically enough, when people argue about, like, you know, they don't believe in Judaism and all that stuff, the Torah is the Old Testament. The Torah is the Old Testament. And then the Christianity bit, the
for
Roman
myself,
Catholics
I don't know
again.
about anyone else in here. I can't speak any other languages, and I'm not prepared to do it on chats because I'm not going to start getting into all of that. But the only other language I can read and can decipher without using any other help is Latin. I can fluently.
It's awesome language.
And
That's the language of doctors.
Latin. But I learned that at church. I've got a Protestant mum and a Catholic dad. I was fortunate or unfortunate enough, whatever way you want to look at it. I was christened and I did my Holy Communion as well. So there you go. Have that.
Sorry, Roxanne, can I ask you, are you fluent in Latin?
Sorry?
Or do you just have a very good understanding of it? Latin, are you fluent in Latin? I mean, can you decipher anything? Yeah.
More or less. Like I said, I had a very obscured upbringing as far as religion is concerned. I had a devout grandmother who was a very active member of her Catholic church, and you know she did everything right down to making and sewing the cushions for the pews herself. You know, she was an absolute. So it was. Just like the education system, it was rammed down my throat as a child. I had no option but to, you know, take the spoonfuls my parents were feeding me as far as religion was concerned. So I had my parents jostling. I had my dad feeding me to his parents and me getting the Catholic indoctrination. And I had my mum putting me in the Church of England and putting me into a primary school that had us saying prayers at assembly every morning. Now that I'm awake, I can look back in hindsight, you know, like people say after a bad relationship and you split up from someone, they say, oh, look, with time, it'll get easier. You'll look back on it and you'll go, how was I so stupid? It's the same when you become awake. The more time you get from the day of awakening to further away from it, the more lunacy it feels of all the things. Yeah. So, like I said, it's woven so deeply into the fabric. But as I was saying, my school, they threw the Bible down my throat. I had my grandparents wanting to do my Holy Communion, so I'm at church every weekend learning Latin with the other kids at Sunday school in the Catholic church. So, I mean, I had the education system. I had my parents putting me in ballet school, horse rangers, learning to horse ride. They had a full freaking schedule for me. I was not allowed to think freely. I wasn't allowed to have my own thoughts. It was on to the next task, on to the next task. So now that I have a massive bias to the indoctrinations of certain religions, I do believe that this was designed by something greater than our understanding. What, how, when, and why is what I'm on a mission to find out. First and foremost,
may I please dance with you? I don't want to cut you off. I want to build. You said a lot. Well, yeah, the Church of England and Queen Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen, helped to bring in our slavery too. And so when we look at like these names like the Virgin Queen Elizabeth, it relates to Ishtar, because Ishtar, Virgin, all of this is V sounds, Venus. And so they're harnessing the energies of the goddess. Church comes from Circe, which is a moon goddess. And we have a lunate bone. So whether we like it or not, when they say hallelujah and in the name of whatever the hell you're saying, your bones are a xylophone of energy. And when I'm talking to you, I'm hitting your instrument, your organs, and I'm making you, whoa.
Also chime in on that as well. I've got a book upstairs. I can all bring it down here and show you guys actually.
Yes, sure.
It was a book that was given to me by my grandma, and it was a book that I had to have in order to go through the process of my Holy Communion, but it was quite an old book. And my book, and this is the book that I learned to understand Latin and speak it, understand it, read it, and write it by itself without any aid and assistance from anybody. I don't know what modern day Holy Communions was, but mine was a serious Scottish one. So I can't vouch for any others, but I'm part of a clan.
And I can trace my ancestry back to a certain extent, and I'm pretty proud of what I can research back to. But having said that, they were very devout, very devout. And that missal, it's called a missal. The reason I'm saying this is because the missal, all the way through from front to back, they have a massive focus on the sound that you make when you make a prayer for this and a prayer for that and a prayer for this. These are all words and sounds and repetitions that you're asked to do. And it was something as a child, the particular priest that was teaching us what he was teaching us, he actually used to chime in on that a lot himself, about the sound you make and the tone of voice you use and the positive tone of voice and the negative tone of voice you use. It has a massive effect on whether what you're putting out into the environment around you. He used to call it the universe. He used to say, you've got to put it out into the universe. You've got to emit that positive energy out into the universe. The more you emit positive, it's a good thing. The more the negative, it will just come back negative. So that book, The Missal, is what got me from not speaking Latin to speaking Latin. I still have that book now. I don't refer to it very often, but the book is older than possibly 1, 2, 3, 4 grandmothers. 4 grandmothers back.
May I share something with you about ancestry? Because you seem into it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said Scottish for some reason. The word Scottish comes from Scota. Scota was the daughter of Akhenaten, Nova Scotia. Scottish Rite Freemasonry. They all work together. Scottish Rite, or Scot or Scota, they all take these different names of Venus. It's very complex, but it goes back to the Egyptians, and they're embodying the solar energy. And what you're saying, they were able to give energies to each other, and physically, literally, and mentally.
I'm very fortunate. We've got a family member who's spent decades tracing our genealogy all the way back. We've managed to get back as far as 1300.
Wow.
With genealogy.
Cool.
But like I said, I'd take my hat off to the first person that can take us back 5,000 years on their lineage. I'd really be interested to hear that.
That's because they told us it wasn't really written down, though, isn't it? Or it was burnt, or whatever.
Sometimes it's handed down verbally from generation to generation. You only have to look at the most untouched tribes on the face of this flat plane that we live on. Sorry, I'm just letting my dog out.
I'm just wondering, what happens if your family is in the Book of Doomsday or the Doomsday Book?
Yeah, that was to start registering people. In the UK, Jay, the Doomsday Book started registering the houses. So it's a bit like that's a book that's got a date on it where these houses were put in.
I was going to say that Regis means queen in Latin, register. That's Venus again. And then I think Libras is liberty, and then labor. And then Roxanne said labor, which she was giving birth. Labor Day has to be about giving birth, for God's sake. Labor Day, Libra's Day. Sorry, I wanted to add that in for the women. Women, it's all about y'all. My goodness.
Sorry, I'm just going to have to deal with my dog. 1 second.
Oh, you're fine. Beautiful. Dog Star Serious.
Can I just say as well that when Angel was talking to us, he's got a nice little thing with a little laser thing on it. Angel.
Let's see it.
Yeah, he's some advertisement. He's advertising
himself.
He's got a phone number. He's got a phone number.
Get that
I'm
money.
sorry, I stepped away. What did you say?
I just said I've noticed your little laser thing. Let's have a look. I'll put the picture on you.
Time and date.angel.
There you go. Look at that. April the 1st.
It's the time right there.
Oh, Angel, today you're an April Fool.
Well, it is funny that today happens to be Easter, B April 1st. I mean, this is one of technically the alignment days, and this is all in the bigger picture. I believe our calendar should be synchronized with the rotation of the not the stations, the Orion, the belt, the Milky Way.
Yeah,
constellations. Those things.
That's good.
Yes, that. and today would be the New Year's, which they decided, they being the Roman Catholic Church, to shun people, call them a conspiracy theorist, if they believed that today was actually April, was the new year, and would align with the A, Aztec chart, B, I can't even say the word, Antikythera device, because it does align with the celestial body movements upon thou within the heavens above us. And if we use that as our calendar, as opposed to the one that's force-fed to us by our educational system, which is force-fed to us by the Roman Catholic Church, they are the ones who dictate it. And as I pointed out a couple of episodes ago, that it's actually currently my government that dictates time. And if they decide that we have to lose a second here or add a quarter of a second there, we dictate that because we control the GPS. We control, we being both ASU Canada and the Naval Station, I believe, are they stay in synchronization. And we dictate when to give up a second and give a second. We dictate daylight savings time is observed by different countries, but the mark is always still Canada/United States. You know, when they skew their quarter hour, half hour is still dictated by the United States, not by the celestial movements of the heavenly bodies above us. And hence, they have been skewing us off of the true calendar for a long time, because we let the church dictate time to us, and we celebrate time being the sun movement, aka sun worship, as it tells us not to do in the Bible. But that's,
I was just going to ask,
just the bigger picture.
Are we on a solar calendar and not the moon calendar, right? Correct? Isn't that what the problem is too?
Well, I believe the moon calendar is what kept us alignment for keeping track of the year, but it's really the elliptic when you know the 12 stations, the Orion and Leo and blah blah blah, Aries and all that other stuff. That is really when the year rotates, and it does have to. They all align to, you know, this is just nature does this, and I do think there's a bigger picture. I really do, because the rotation of many of the celestial bodies winds up being prime numbers. And I tell you, the odds of that are just off the charts, that many of them happen to be odd numbers. And I believe the reason for this is because if we paid attention to the movement of the celestial bodies, if we say Jupiter has to be there and Saturn has to be there and Uranus has to be, well, actually Uranus isn't one of the ones spoken of. Mercury has to be over there, then we can't change that. That is a celestial movement, where here we can say, oh, you know, let's say that our current era starts the same time that you know, Christ was born, you know, and we can just change that at will because the Roman Catholic Church dictates
Angel,
to us and or the government.
Can I say something, please, buddy? Have you noticed as well the distances between these celestial bodies? It's all the same. It's the same distance.
They may be, but I think the distances are non sequitur, because I don't believe they're actually that far apart.
No, I mean,
think
yeah, okay.
Just kind of like the sun and the moon.
Of course, it's numbers wrote down. Of course, it's numbers wrote down on papers. But my point of observance is, why are they all the same? The distances are the same. We keep seeing this number again and again and again. You know, and it's just well, I'm inquisitive. Yeah, it's one of those, you know, little cats.
I can give you a scenario, and this is a hypothetical, but you know how cryptography works, that you need a constant, and well, how things work in mode. Like if I say 90 minutes, it's the same as 1 hour and 30 minutes. Because we're in mode 60 when we deal with time. And we're also in mode 60, ironically enough, when we deal with minutes and seconds and longitude and latitude. I don't think there's a mistake there, but that has to do with, again, I believe that the whole manipulation, the whole equidistant map, AE map, is more of a cryptographical device, a way to read messages where a location also dictates a time, can dictate a time. That is because the monuments, monolithic structures, upon the surface of the plane are meant to dictate information. And that only works when you read it as a cryptographical device through a matrix. And it if you're willing to listen to it, it does speak volume, and it tells us lots of cool information. But that's a whole another ball of wax. What I was getting into is the I forget what I was getting into. I really do. Somebody tell me. What was the last saying about?
Oh, sorry, I was listening, and now you said what was I getting into. It's gone out of my brain. You were talking about 60 seconds. Everything is 60s.
Oh, well, that's
by
cryptography. The way the sun and the moon and the Jupiter and stuff move. If I say that Jupiter, like if you look into the Coral Castle that's located in Florida in the U.S., if you physically sit down in one of the areas, you have to look through a pinhole, and if Saturn happens to be through that pinhole, that would dictate a time then that only happens once every X number of years. The structure next to it happens to have like two twins, so that would be Gemini, and there's a little mark there. So when Gemini happens to be within the crosshairs of that location is another point in time. So if you use a program like Solarium or whatever it is, and you say, when would Jupiter be here? When would Saturn be here? When would Gemini be there? And you figure out when that point in time is, that only happens once every like 1,300 years. So you now have once every 1,300 years. If you can throw a fourth constellation in there that only happens once every 2,000 years, then you can make it so when that is there, end these three things. And what that does is it makes it so.
Can I add on that?
Go.
Please, Angel. That about, these structures where the sun will shine in on a certain day. There's a structure in the south of Egypt called Abu Simbel, overlooking Lake Aswan, close to Aswan, Sudan. And on this guy's birthday, I believe it was Ramesses II, on his birthday, every year when the sun came up, it would shine through and hit the altar at like 12 o'clock, let's say. So therefore, they could probably hold some birthday ceremony, and they can all sing happy birthday to you or whatever it was they sang back then. Who knows? But when the United Nations, I think it was UNESCO, they had some sort of preservation fund back in the 1950s because the Nile was flooding every year. They decided to move it, and they lifted it up from where its original foundation was. They lifted it up, cut it up into blocks, lifted it up, and they were big blocks as well. And then they rebuilt it. Unfortunately, our modern day technology couldn't do the same what the ancients could do. So on his birthday, the sun didn't shine. It was the following day that the sun shone. So we messed it up. My original point after this little history was, why do they have them? Is it just because it's someone's birthday? Or, is there more significance to the sun shining through, boom, hitting a certain point at a certain time? I yield the floor.
Well, one thing I would suggest is it doesn't really matter what day they were celebrating, the fact that if you could show that it truly does shine in a specific spot in a specific day at noon, then that would dictate that they understood the movement of the sun within the heavens, which would really escalate them above knuckle dragging people. I mean, they weren't morons that didn't understand the movement of the celestial bodies. And that, I think, is more relevant to what were they celebrating. It's more relevant they understood the movement of the bodies up in the heavens.
Yeah. So they've understood a lot more than us, because it's only people who research know what all the sun's doing and stuff like that. They had no cameras.
We didn't understand the movement of the bodies. Well,
no cameras.
It depends on what you believe, but we didn't understand the movement of the bodies among the heavens until we got telescopes, and that was in when? The 1500s again, right? Other than that, it was kind of, we could only observe the moon and other things, even though they're spoken of in the Bible.
Observed them through. Have you, have all of us got a common understanding? Of because I've got a telescope upstairs in my loft that goes through my window in my roof. Has everybody else on the panel got their telescopes, and have they seen through a telescope with their own eyes? Just an amateur one, just an amateur telescope. Or
Patricia's got a telescope.
Because I have, to me, the things that I see in the sky look like sound waves. They look like sound.
I don't have a telescope, but I'll be honest. Judith she's a person who takes pictures. She films Venus and how Venus really looks. And when I meditate and I close my eyes and I put my eyeballs to my third eye, I see the same patterning of what Judith showed very clearly. Whenever I put my eyes across them, there's this thing that vibrates. I used to see it all the time when I was younger. So I think that can help us too. That's how they saw the stars originally, for sure. I mean, the pyramids, I think, had something to do with also that relationship. I yield the floor. I was just want to chime in.
Things that are up there look like sound waves. They look like sound.
Yes.
They look like sound.
Totally. And you have a bell, the cerebellum. So when you're meditating, you're surfing with the stars. But we've been misled with bad food and diet. The oxygen to our brain, the copper, it's getting drained so much today that it's so hard to see the stars in here. Yeah, it's possible. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I encourage people to look at their diet. I do not judge anyone on it, but it does make it easier to see, well, for lack of a better word, the stars. Hence why we have Star Search, Starburst Candy, Starburst.
Do you have any info on that star? Where does the word star come from? Where does the word star come from?
Star would be Ra, the Egyptian sun god. Ra, rats, Ararat. It's the same word, R-A. Total. All R-A words give birth to rat, star, tar baby, Taurus. Targus is a company that I have a Targus mat for yoga. Yeah. It's the Isra and L words. If I could simplify etymology, if you know I-S, and the R-A and the E-L, wherever you see those combinations, they relate to the moon directly, sun directly, and Saturn directly. So when you're saying it, you're speaking as an astrologer, whether you like it or not. You are an astrologer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I yield the floor. Sorry. By the wheel. What was that?
Angel, no, I was just saying, Angel, did you finish what you were saying?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't remember. Because all I suggest is that our calendar has been manipulated. We are not in sync with our celestial movements of the bodies in the heavens. Instead, we have let our governments collectively dictate when the calendar starts and when the seconds are in synchronization. We have we've been force-fed this, just like the globe, ever since we went to school, because we get in synchronized with the school clock. We have to be at school at a certain time. I mean, they dictate our life from childhood. Even if you say, oh, I use the sun to tell me when noon is, they say, well, if you're not here at, at 8:15 in the morning, then you're tardy, sir. It's
Yes.
And so we have allowed government to dictate time to us. And honestly, it was Carlin that pointed this out to me, that we sundials and other things, sextants, lots of other things dictate time because they used the sun movement to dictate the time. The moon dictated within a month, and then the year was actually set to the movement within the ecliptic. So, and that is what was used. That is what the Archimedes device synchronizes to. That's what the Mayan calendar synchronized to. I mean, it's actually, even the Mayan calendar synchronized to it, but it ended on the winter solstice as opposed to the new year, because that's when time is like the rebirth. Christmas, that's the rebirth. Again, another pagan holiday, but that's a whole other side issue. We have melded back to exactly what it says in the Bible not to do. Not to do as the pagans do, not to do the sun worship. Sunday is our holy day, and many of the holidays fall on the movement of the sun as opposed to the ones that were celebrated, if they wish to believe it, as Christ celebrated in the Bible. If we celebrate the exact same holidays Christ celebrated, which happens to be the Jewish holidays, that, it's ironic that today happens to be that day, but it's a bigger picture. We've been lied to about how to dictate time. And if we let our government dictate time to us, then a generation or two from now, they can say, oh, we decided to call it Enoch 1 day or whatever. And we just lose track of time. And then they can dictate anything to us. Every couple of generations, they can just change something. Oh, we're going to call it Gay Day. I mean, who knows what they're going to do nowadays? You read 1984, I thought it was a joke. You read Brave New World, the same thing. It's we're living it.
Can I chime in? Also, The Handmaid's Tale. I had to read The Handmaid's Tale. Was it Margaret Atwood? Yeah, and it was a movie with Robert Duvall was the big papa and all these mind control women. It's a TV series now, of course, and they're all under control and they have sex with him, just him. Now, with the
you understand?
Yeah. Go ahead.
That is foreshadowing the fact that they've been force feeding us what I'd like to call a birth control.
Yes.
And hence, you need to have a lineage of people who are breeders, the worthless breeders. And then you have to have your wives, which are your nobles. And I'd like to almost suggest that throughout history, you can almost find out that some of the princes and stuff were actually bastard kids of the servants and not the children of the queen.
Good job.
True.
Good job.
True. He's right.
Yeah. Yeah, that resonated with me as well. I don't know about anyone else. I was like, well, bang, nail on the head again.
And then they call themselves the Sun King or Medici, Isis, the Queen Moon, and you're just as powerful as she is with a solar plexus in your stomach, right? Like, wow, the phallic energy of the sun. Like, these are people that like the phallic energy. Totally. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah.
I told somebody, I mean, it's funny, today's Easter, but I was explaining to somebody last week that I have never been more religious than I have in the past year since I realized the whole flat earth thing. Because when you look in the Bible, a lot of this stuff is mentioned in the Bible because these are the pagan ways. If you read the whole pagan bit in the Bible, the whole, while Moses was up there, what they were doing and celebrating, and the, I can't even think of Manus or Tammuz. Tammuz is in the Bible. The whole Tammuz has to do with Ishtar and the whole slaughtering of the boar and stuff. It's all in the Bible, in the Old Testament, the Torah. It's all the Jewish stuff, and And what the Roman Catholics have done is they dictate to you every week in your 52 times a year what they want you to hear. And even though they give you the Bible right in front of you, it's like, we tell you the whole story, but you don't take the time to read it because you just listen to us and you don't take your own time to read it. If you would actually read what it says in the Bible, you will realize that we are celebrating pagan holidays left and right, masked under this.
Can I add to your Tammuz point? It's okay?
Yeah.
Tammuz is also known to be Mars. It's to help people who are into the Bible. Tammuz is Mars, and a Mazzaroth means a constellation. Muz, Ma. Those are important things to know so that they can help.
That's because I believe, as it mentions in the Bible, that most of these people within the Bible are actually allegories for the celestial movements of the bodies in the heavens. And what it says in the Bible is, don't do the sun worshiping pagan stuff, which is celebrating and worshiping that movement of the heavenly bodies. They say, understand the movement of the heavenly bodies, but don't worship the movement of the heavenly bodies.
Awesome.
Don't worship, slaughter your kid because there happens to be an eclipse. Don't slaughter your child. Understand that this will happen.
Right.
These are movements of the celestial bodies in order for you to keep track of time. This is not something you have to slaughter your kid, otherwise the moon won't come back again the next day. This is what I believe pagan is sun worshiping, slaughtering your kids, painting stuff out of blood worship, dyeing your eggs.
So does everyone
in blood.
in here buy into the depopulation agenda? Yeah? Does everyone buy into that agenda?
Well, yeah.
I think that's the bigger
Yes, go ahead, Angel.
That's a control issue.
It happens with the park that I live right beside. I live beside Richmond Park, and every year they do an annual deer cull because there's too many deer.
Huh.
They do it religiously every year.
Well, I'm gonna
and
tell
they
you,
put signs up saying,
I'm gonna
please
say
don't
something
come in
important.
after this time because we're shooting deer because there's
Wow.
too many. So the old and infirm get it.
I wanted to shout out a friend of mine on the chat room. His name is Aeon, known as Willie. He makes beats, beautiful dancer, because we've been talking a lot about this kind of information, and I'm grateful for my brothers who are trying to wake up, so I'm encouraging those. Talking about the cover of cereal boxes. Depopulation, yeah, man. These characters on the cover of the cereal boxes are very disturbing. And my friend showed me unicorn cereal. It was a unicorn with a rainbow around it. It's Luciferian mind control shit they use. And the unicorn is on the royal crest of England with the lion side by side, moon and the sun. So here we have our children, and they're using the astrology, and they're putting crap in that cereal. And then yesterday in my dance studio, I had a little baby running around with the damn unicorn box of cereal, drooling and spitting. Little beautiful baby doesn't know that symbol of unicorn is a symbol of the moon. And then we get cancer. Let me say that again very slowly. We get cancer because they're using that birthing energy, the movement of a star, as Angel said. The Vatican, they had the biggest Lucifer telescope, right? They're following the movement. Yeah. So they know where cancer is and what she does, energetically wise. So if I'm eating this crappy unicorn.
Does everyone know in here as well that Dr. Sebi cured cancer? And then was killed as a result of it, and he won the court case, right? He won
if you know the source, it's cured.
He won the court case. He won the court case, man. He cured it, and then they bumped him off.
Plant life. We need more plants. Plants cure cancer.
They bumped him off. As soon as listen, the guy had spent his whole life. As soon as he won the court case, within weeks he was bumped off.
Yeah, his business disappeared and everything, didn't it? So yeah, it's a big thing going on.
Does everyone else know as well? I don't know if anyone else here is into hip hop music from back in the day. Lisa Left Eye Lopez was in Honduras.
Yes.
And she visited Dr. Sebi, and after she found out the truth, she was bumped off because she was going to blow it up and tell everybody. But yeah, she was bumped off.
I love you. I love you. Left Eye. First of all, her name is Left Eye, right?
Yeah.
The eye of who? Of Horus.
Yeah.
And then
she was trying
burned
to tell everyone. She realized she danced with the devil, and then she was trying to tell everyone in her own little way, bless her, and then she got bumped off.
Can I tell you a story? I believe to be true.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
There's a doctor that you can look up. In fact, it's easy. You can look on YouTube and look up Dead Doctors Don't Lie. His name is Dr. Wallach.
Okay.
And he has isolated 90 different nutritional items that you need. That happens to be oils and grains and minerals and stuff. And he demonstrated to Jerry Lewis, the guy who used to do that 24-hour telethon for muscular dystrophy, about 4 years ago. He went to his office and he said, look, we can show you reports of how we can, I'll use the word cure, but to be safe, he used the word eliminate. We can avoid, we can make it so that children do not have muscular dystrophy, because most muscular dystrophy is a avoidance, a vacuum, you don't have the correct minerals that your body needs to properly build your muscular tissue. And because of this, you have muscular dystrophy. You have unproperly built muscles because you don't give your body the right pieces and parts that it needs, because our current diet is sad. Well, at least here where I live, it's the standard American diet. It's sad. It's void of nutrition. We believe in sugary treats and artificial flavors and colors. And that's sad, but it's true. Sad, but true.
Yeah.
And so what happens is we are void of this nutrition. And you say, look, if you give people this nutrition, then we will cure this. And he went to Jerry Lewis and he showed this to him. And about a week later, Jerry Lewis went to the muscular dystrophy thing and said, oh, this is great. This is great. Anyway, I'm a bad Jerry Lewis person, but you get the idea. And they said, oh, this is great. Cool. Let's give you, and they gave him I believe it was a 7-year contract. And they said, look, we're going to pay you X number $1 million a year, blah, blah, blah. This is great, wonderful, sign here. And he signed it, and that's technically called golden handcuffs. And they said, okay, now you represent the, whatever he worked for, March for Dimes or whatever whatever technically it was, or he is, it still exists. And they said, look, this is a corporation. We have to do everything that makes money for the corporation. And if we cured it, then people wouldn't be giving us donations to help fight it. So we're going to pay you to take a vacation. Now, this was about 4 years ago, and hence he wound up dying just last year. But you notice that he never did another telethon again because he couldn't stand up and say, look, I found the cure, but I'm going to lie to you guys and say, please give me money. So that's just truth in what happens in this world.
Yeah.
Money speaks. As it says in the Bible, the love of money is the root of all evil. Not money is the root of all evil. The love of money.
Watch out for charity.
This is all taught in the Bible. And I'll also suggest to you that it was the 1500s when the church started allowing interest. The church, their tithing, they interest, or what do they call it? Usury was condoned by the church. That's when they became the love of money. Instead of, it will come to me, people will donate. If we need a new wing on the church, people will donate. If we need a new pool outside, people will donate. No, they said, hey, we can start making people pay usury. They became the love of money. And that was the corruption of the church. And it all happened around the same time, the 15th century. Earth went ground. Usury was okay. They decided to dictate when time was. They decided to change the calendar, the Gregorian calendar. All came around the same time, that the church was corrupted, and we have all followed suit by birth. Even the time, your birth certificate probably is based on the Gregorian calendar. Go figure. It's scary, but true.
Yeah. Be careful of your Desmond Tutus as well. Tutu. Knights of Maltas, men who stand in place, and then they pretend to do charitable work like your Shriners, shrine people of the grave. and they pretend to give you clothes and donations, and they help burning victims, but they're taking the money, these horrible scumbags, they're taking the money for themselves, but they're pretending to hide behind. That makes me very angry.
Totally.
That stuff, not cool.
Can I just ask Karen if it's okay if I spend just a short time speaking about awareness tactics?
Yeah, I was going across my mind about that because we talked about that before.
Yeah,
go for it then. Go for it.
Okay, so I come from a positive state of mind, and like I said, I've been awake for a few years now, and I've tried various tactics to try and spread awareness and get other people seeking the truth and researching the truth and understanding that the truth doesn't fear investigation. And I've come to the conclusion, okay, I really have. This is just personal. I'm not trying to throw anyone else and say anyone else. I don't need anyone else to agree with me for me to have an opinion. So in my opinion, throwing myself under the bus is a non-starter. You can engage with people for up to half an hour before dropping the flat earth bomb, and they will fully engage with you. And as soon as you drop a flat earth bomb on them, they are disengaged. There's like a subconscious channel that goes off or something. So I've come to the conclusion, everyone, that I now throw imaginary people under the bus. I create imaginary people. Norman at the bank, such and such at the doctor's surgery. They were telling me about flat earth. They were telling me about this fact that it's a deception, the fact that we don't live on a globe, and they asked me to research it. And then I kind of don't shoot the messenger. I'm skeptical myself, kind of thing. And I find that ends up giving you more of a window where they will stay engaged with you and actually carry on listening instead of tuning you out. I don't know about anyone else's tactics, and I thought it'd be quite useful to bring it up because I don't know if anyone's out there reaching for tactics because they don't know how to engage with people on a personal level with human beings.
May I chime in on that?
Yeah, go for it.
I was just talking about that with a friend of mine named Michael Wagner about how to communicate to people who are under severe mind control. Because I had actually a really awesome moment with a Christian who I kind of stereotype. I thought when I heard she was Christian that she might be the typical, gay, evil, and all this stuff, right? But she started talking to me and she wanted to pray with me because she felt like I was stressed out. So I was like, cool. So as she's praying with me and saying Jesus Christ, I said, can I say now Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And when I said that back to her, she just paused, her eyes opened, and we started talking. And she started to express her ideas of Jesus and how killing was not what Christians were supposed to do. And I was sitting there like, okay, go ahead, I'm listening. And she's like, that's right. And God is love and she goes, the breath. And then I said, well, can I say something? Well, Krishna is known to be the breath. She's like, yeah. And so I'm like, okay. I don't think she realized because it was like, we weren't like labeling the conversation. I think that when you give it a label, like, I'm going to go in on you about religion or earth, ball, flat, we tend to go very aggressive towards each other, right? But if we kind of weave in some information where there's an opening, socially you can do it. So then I said, go to your etymology. I said, type in Allah, Jupiter, Jesus, and Abraham. She went, she looked at it, didn't get mad, and was like, so there's something about showing etymology.com that I encourage everyone to do. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's really awesome. You can put Allah, Jupiter, Jesus, Saturn, ISIS as one thing, and they will not be there unless they relate. So you can't debunk it. And they'll look at you like, thank you, maybe. Like, okay, that's evidence. Sorry, just wanted to add in, like.
Great.
It's a good way.
I think the more we can share awareness tips and awareness things that work, what we should do is don't try and focus on the things that you don't try and learn from the mistakes you made. Try and learn from when it gets done right. Try and learn from the times that people have engaged with you and say, okay, that is a formula that works. Let me carry on with that. Don't try to keep getting creative with it, Like I said, I will happily start my interactions with, have you heard? Did you hear? Have you seen? Do you know? And then after that, I will then throw my imaginary people under the bus, my hairdresser, the man or woman at the bank, the cashier at, the manager at Sainsbury's or Tesco's or Walmart or coffee shop or the school, or, especially with my work colleagues. I think when you create an imaginary person, you stop throwing yourself under the bus when trying to awaken people out of alpha, beta, state 9. It does help to not throw yourself under the bus,
Hey, Roxanne, do you think, because I have a theory about waking up.
Oh, by the way, sorry, before I forget,
go ahead.
Sorry, one sec. And I also would say, please don't, anyone who's only just become awakened, okay, and you're thinking about engaging with people, I don't know if this is helpful, but I spent a lot of time being misconstrued into thinking I was going to get some kind of gratification from waking people up. And then I quickly realized, okay, that gratification's never coming, ever. I don't know if that person's going to research it or not. And as long as you go into it knowing that you might not come out, the real is, I think it's lunacy to think that you might come out of a half an hour or an hour's engagement and take someone from not being awake to awake. I think it's impossible to get someone from alpha, beta, state 9 to 1 in one foul swoop. I actually think it's nigh enough impossible to do it in half a decade, actually. That's how mad it is. But, you have to plant a seed somewhere, right?
Yeah. One of my ex-girlfriend's kids, I had showed him videos of Building 7 long before the school got their fingers on him. Showed him videos. He'd seen it. Building 7 he was already on board that it was a controlled demolition. And I said, have you seen the movie Matrix? You got to understand that we live in a controlled world, and that, that people aren't awake to it yet. So when he was in his class, this was about 3-4 years ago, and they brought up 9/11. It happened to be September 11th. Like, blah, blah, blah. He said, what about Building 7? How do you answer that? And the person's like, building what? It's like, and it woke up a quarter of the class because they looked into it. I mean, the curiosity of a child. So the seed can happen. You can plant it and it can wake people up. And I what do you call it? Vicariously woke up people through this child's words that came out in his class. If he hadn't been in tune with the whole deception, then he wouldn't have blurted that out and people wouldn't have researched it. And a third of his class came back to him and said, building what? What is this? Da, 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 da. And they're like, look, here on YouTube. Blah, 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 blah. Here you go. Look at it. And they're like, oh my goodness. And it's like, it's like when you find a whole bunch of toys in your parents' closet the day before Christmas. When you
Pardon?
To Christmas. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Astral.
I will.
No? Oh, what? Pardon,
Okay,
go ahead.
What I say is you wake up at one point. You find it. I woke up to it. My parents didn't completely lie to me because all the gifts, none of them said from Santa. They said from grandma, from this, from that. Everyone was egotistical. There was no from Santas in my world. I wasn't quite told there was a Santa. I was brought up Roman Catholic. I did go to CCD. I did go to Sunday church. I was baptized. I was confirmed. I was, there's something else you do. I don't remember. Baptized. It doesn't matter. It does. Anyway, I did a bunch of them. I did the whole thing. And it really wasn't up until the last year that I really understood the bigger picture, because now it's hard to go back. It's hard to take the blue pill. Yeah. I know too much. I know that hard. Easter is Easter.
Hard, darling. It's beyond hard. There is no going back. There is actually no going back. I don't believe for a second that one can go back once fully awakened. I think you can go back when you're open to suggestion, but not once you're fully awakened. There's no, I don't know about anyone else in this panel, but thoughts about the deception keep me awake at night. Don't know.
Yeah, well, when you learn about the
certificate, there's no getting away from it. You can't get away from it. It's like being awake in the middle of an operation and knowing you should still be asleep, and everyone else is.
Well, it's kind of worse than that. When you've read the instruction manuals, when you've looked at the Mayan calendar, And when you've looked at, I researched the Antikythera device. I've watched things on it. I wish somebody would make it into a Java thing, because I would like to have that the same way that we can use the Enigma machine. And if you haven't looked at that, that goes into cryptography as well, because that's what they used during World War II to keep things encrypted. But when you understand how cryptography works, you understand how the AE map works with cryptography to be able to relate things back and forth. And it all has to do with prime numbers, which is scary. And I'd be glad to work with you on that, because it is mathematical. It is just math. It's all math, because math is a universal language. But what I was getting at is it's the fact that we've been lied to a whole lot about our calendar. And if they can get us skewed from the calendar, if they could get us off of the knowledge of the celestial bodies, if they can call, and I'm not into palm readings and, oh, you were born on this month, therefore you are more aggressive and stuff like that. They kind of throw this stuff out for people to read in the tabloids, and it's great and wonderful. But the exact same people who pay attention to the, oh, you're Gemini, oh, you're Cancer, oh, you're this or that, those people can use that same knowledge of the movements of the celestial bodies in the heavens and understand how to read the calendars of the days of old, because they are based on the movements of the celestial bodies, not based on a calendar that's in like a nuclear base inside of Mount Shasta. It's letting nature dictate time instead of your government. And they allow us to be skewed from it because they don't want us to understand time, so they can lie to us left and right. And because we have zero something to concretely come to, something that if we could take the Antikythera device and say, hey, an eclipse is on this day, and it's a red moon on this day, and a blue moon on this day, and hey, we can tell when in time we are, and then backwards engineer when in time we are, then we can't be lied to, because this AD stuff, BC stuff.
Imagine, Angel.
BCE.
Sorry. Imagine, Angel. Sorry to interrupt you. If there was some sort of a printer where you could print that device out with, and now I'm being sarcastic, of course, but I mean, if the plans were there, you know, yeah, you know what I mean.
You know, there
3D printer.
There are, right. You know that this, I think it's Solarium or whatever it is, Jeranism was pointing out that the North Star wouldn't move even if you went like eons into the future and eons into the past. And they turned around and made the software so you could only go like a decade or two, not a decade, like, you know, a few thousand years into the future and a few thousand years into the past. They truncated the timeline that they would give you because they wanted to say, oh, the North Star moves after an eon or two, even though their own software said it didn't. And they took away the ability for you to document that their own software said it didn't, because I do believe that the North Star never moved, ever. Ever.
Can I add something about the pole star in Hindu? They call it Dhruva. It means immovable.
No, you can't.
No, you can't, Jeff.
Yeah, so it says it means immovable.
No, you can't.
Yeah,
no, you can't.
Go ahead. What's that? Go ahead.
I said no, you can't.
They're teasing.
I just said no, you can't.
They're
I'm not teasing.
You're not.
No, I don't want to hear any more etymology. I'm tired.
You know what?
No.
Damn it. It's atomic. It's about you. You can embrace it. What I'm saying is basically, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Because y'all just totally got in there and then you cockney blocked me. Can someone, What was I saying? Okay, who's listening to what I was saying? Remember what I was saying?
You're saying, hi, my name is Jay. I'm a dancer. I yield the floor.
Dhruva, my name is Jay. Dhruva means immovable, and it's the pole star in Sanskrit. So if it's aligned with the north pole of the earth, then your Sanskrit people are saying it doesn't move. We're firm. I yield the floor.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Lev,
Right here.
Lev, do you want
Still here. I'm just repositioning myself and getting a bit more comfortable on my sofa. Sorry.
You're okay.
That's okay, my darling. Lev, do you want to say anything? You've been really quiet.
Yeah. Roxanne, you were talking about Santa and the Tooth Fairy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I was
the
actually thinking about it earlier
desensitizing
today.
to the lies.
Sorry?
The desensitizing to the lies is very young children.
It's acclimating you to be able to lie
it's-
to your children with a straight face.
It's nuts.
It's probably
I
why
wasn't able to do it to mine.
Go ahead, Kung Fu.
we're probably pushed upon us.
Sorry, Lev, say that again.
Pushed upon us. You know, like
Lev, you're breaking up.
it were probably pushed upon us. You know, like Christmas and stuff like that kind of thing. Like it's like a pagan holiday anyway.
Mm.
You're all clear.
All right, go on then. You're all right now.
All right, yeah. So like Christmas is like a pagan holiday and stuff, isn't it? So that's kind of like it's not our natural tradition and stuff. It's like from in Rome and stuff. So like this, I didn't think about Tooth Fairy earlier, but there's Tooth Fairy as well. So all these type of things, you know, like lying to your children, and then they eventually figured it out or ask or whatever and stuff. And maybe it's like almost like a fail safe. So if the people figured out that the Earth was flat, then at least they're already used to kind of dealing with a lie that they felt really passionate about and trusted the people. You know, we trust his government. You know what I mean? And now we know that they're lying. We don't trust them anymore. You know what I mean? It's the big thing. You know what I mean? It's like people dealt with 9/11, but flat Earth, it's kind of like that's it. We can't really. There's no more. Maybe not anymore, is there? It's they've lied about everything. Like
Everything.
I kind of think
Everything
like
is back to front.
Well,
that's
one thing I could suggest
this
about
kind of thing to make
the
people
flat
more
Earth is it's a
complacent
lot
when they're-
easier.
when they're victim.
Sorry, he hasn't quite finished yet.
Sorry,
Sorry,
go on.
just say that last bit again, Lev. Say that last bit again.
So do you think like Santa was created to make people more complacent to the realization that the Earth's flat? The dishonesty of government, and you're like, oh well, Santa weren't real, flat Earth, the globe weren't real, and you know what I mean, and stuff like. Keep looking at Facebook or seeing on TV, and you know, I kind of think I don't know. It occurred to me this morning, that kind of thought.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
Does
I
anybody
think
else?
that
Yeah,
was.
thank you.
yeah,
Thank
he-
you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Right. What were you saying, Angel?
I don't remember.
How about child
Yeah.
games? Go ahead,
Yeah,
Roxanne.
go for it.
No, I was gonna talk about the piñata and children, and this is gonna really be intense. I did a presentation. Symbolism, really important, what they do to children or to us. Now, it's not to attack the piñata or the idea of beating it as something evil, right?
Mhm.
But in your brain, there's something called the pons, P-O-N-S, and it means the bridge of asses. Ass is also known to be the donkey. So when you're pinning the tail on a donkey, it's a mental connection. And when you look at piñatas, most piñatas are in the shape of a donkey. And they fill the donkey or the ass with candy. So that they blindfold the child, Lady Libra, Justice, Venus, swinging a stick. We see Athena that has a stick. And then the child, I had this damn game. I bless people for not getting killed. I was hyperactive and I had ADHD, apparently. You're giving me a blindfold and a stick? Anyways, and I'm swinging violently at this doll. And then when I hit it, what happens, y'all? All the children, they dive in and jump and grab the candy, sugar. In my opinion, you're smashing a reflection of your head, associating your head with sweets and sugars.
You're actually being rewarded for violence.
Yes.
And it's Pavlov. It's
Yeah,
a
man,
bigger
go ahead.
picture is Pavlovian.
Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, these are games that we should look at and rethink and say, okay, when I'm teaching ballet to my babies, should I give them candy as a reward? And what kind of candy is that? What's it doing to their DNA? And then you're playing sexualized music. And then they're younger and younger, getting more and more mature.
Yeah.
Bad. So the games and the rituals have to be rethought. I yield.
It's like, I don't
Or
know
Bill.
for anybody else, but this is just brilliant. I'm just like a sponge and absorbing all of the information and kind of filing it away. And just brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, when you say kick me, when you put a kick me sign on someone's back, we have a donkey kick. Donkey Kong video game. Brilliant. That's about your brain. So when you kick someone in the back, you're kicking a sense of your head, a symbol of your mind. Mind control, the capital of Washington, D.C., your head means kaput in Latin, kaput, capital. My dome, all your domes, my goodness, all of the domes in the world are a symbol of authority. And we walk right by them and don't realize that that is a symbol of your head. Then you get a tree that's going to pose beside it. Your cortex means the bark of a tree. You're looking in a head. It's all a big dome. It's a head. It's a thought. It's a consciousness. So mind control of the words is the first thing they had to get. They had to bond the words, get us away from nature, and then associate ourselves with race, size, political party, tribe, blah, blah, posse, gang.
I suppose television.
Somebody
just put Buckaroo in the chat room, right? And we all have, most of us, when my age, would have had Buckaroo. But what it is the television came. Now we're playing with plastic toys and we're playing Buckaroo. And actually, we went outside. They already got us to stay inside playing games inside on plastic.
Yes. You know the most frustrating game, and I had to do a skit about it. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Egg hunting. The Yu-Gi-Oh! Phrase, they go in the damn phone and go try to find an invisible egg. I said, instead of trying to find an invisible egg, why don't you go and pick up a real visible piece of litter off of your mama and throw it away?
Yeah.
Pick up some trash.
Just say thank you to Riddle, who wrote that in the chat room, by the way. Because just got us playing with plastic donkeys. Chucking things
Right, donkeys, yes. Right, Don Quixote. That story's about your head. It's about you are Don Quixote. Don't get it twisted. Those movies are all about us. All of you are the heroes and the villain. It's both. We can be good and bad. It's what we're given and how we. Yeah.
Yep. So true.
Just got to know the words.
So true. So true. Just to tie in with what we were saying earlier on about DIY we were talking about awareness. I just wanted to touch on some things that I was talking about earlier on today about DIY awareness. I'm not sure I subscribe to people selling merchandise and making money off of it. I'm not sure anyone should monopolize the truth. But what I do believe in is doing your own bit of DIY activism. And my own lighters, I was showing today, just taking permanent markers and writing research flat earth on lighters. And just when someone asks you for a light, purposely have a lighter, give it to them and just walk away from the situation and let them read the lighter in their own time. I was also talking about writing it, taking permanent markers and writing it on things that are just there subliminally and using the same tricks of the trade that they use back on them. Yeah. Take a permanent marker, write flat earth in black, big permanent marker on the front of your Visa card so that every time you touch and go, subliminally, it's written there, it's written there, it's written there. Tens of thousands of times people would do that. Touch and go, touch and go, touch and go. I don't know what you use in America. Over in here in England, in London, we use a thing called an Oyster card. Just 1 second and let me get... I'm going to do a Blue Peter this time. I did say to my original video, I'm not going to do a Blue Peter. I did do it in front of them. I went and found a Sharpie. I went and asked my daughter, can I have a Sharpie? I went into my box of lighters, I grabbed a lighter, and I just showed everyone, look, this is how simple it is. You can do it with your own bare hands. That didn't cost any money. And how many of us that do smoke, unfortunately, how many of us have, like, if I had a pound for every lighter that has just gone astray and probably traveled more continents than most human beings. So yeah, give me a second and I'm just going to go and get, here's one I made earlier.
That's cool then. She's gone to get something. Anyway, you can also, like, maybe I thought of a day of everybody wearing T-shirts with flat Earth on it. That's not too expensive.
Three.
Hi, Josh.
Sorry about the noise.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Very quickly, Roxanne, 1 second. Just 1 second. Hi, Flat Earth Unity. John's just joined us. Hi, darling.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Peace, respect, and boundless love as usual.
What's up, man?
So these are
Roxanne's
some
just gonna
items
show
that
us something.
I did today. I just walked around my house and got these 3 items. Sometimes my partner uses public transport. So I did a little bit of DIY awareness at home today. And I wrote this on a lighter. I don't know if you can, hold on, I'm going to try and hold it up. With a Sharpie, I just use a regular permanent marker. As you can see, I'm rubbing it all over. It's not coming off. It's still all there. It's still on the lighter, you know? Okay? It's not coming off. It's on there for good. I've also got this here, which is a cover that you would put your travel card in. It's coming up backwards. Sorry, guys, but or maybe not.
No, it's only coming up. It's only coming up backwards for you. It's coming up fine for us.
That's how new to this I am. Can you tell? So yeah, I've done that, and this one's a good one. You can do that on your bank card. You can do it on your wallet. You can go to well-known car accessory shops, beginning with H.
You can do it to your shirt pocket as well if you want.
You can go into there and get your registration plate redone at the bottom, and you can have Research Flat Earth put on your registration plate of your car. So when people are stuck in traffic, they've got nothing to do but stare at the bottom of your registration plate saying, go on, Research Flat Earth, I dare ya. Yeah, there's a load of things that you can do that are just DIY at home activism. And I would suggest that if anyone did have printers nearby, everyone can Google search it. Become that annoying person in your family that has like 20 hoodies, 20 T-shirts, boxes of lighters, and every Christmas and every birthday, give the kids flat earth socks, make them and just give them to your own family. Don't make them for profit. Do non-for-profit truth seeking and just make them, instead of going and buying loads of expensive presents, go to your printer, build up a rapport, get a load of them made, stack them aside and give them away for every excuse you possibly can. Yeah, I'm sure the guy at the printers, after he prints out all of those things for you, is going to say, you know what, let me research it. Wouldn't you, after working on flat earth stuff all day? I would. But yeah, loads of ways that you can just get awareness out there just for people to just research it. Yeah.
Well done, Roxanne. Really good. So we all buy a box of lighters, write flat earth on them, and then give them away.
Go to Poundland. You could even go to Poundland. Poundland, 10 for a
yeah.
And when you're at the, if you go to a pub or if you go to any bars, you go outside, even if you're a non-smoker, just buy them as a plug, and go out there. And it won't take 2 seconds for someone to ask you for a light, even if you don't smoke. And just say, yeah, go on now. And then just give it to them and walk away. It happens so innocently anyway. People inadvertently take people's lighters all the time and they don't mean to. So,
can I make a suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
Avery has a sticker that's 32 a page that you can print off like a color laser or a color inkjet printer, and they stick right onto a Bic and they fit perfect. And it would take you like a lot less time and they just stick there, and you can make them in color and put a little thing and like a web page across the bottom. It's a lot easier than a Sharpie, quick and easy. They only have to last a short time because the sticker is going to eventually fall off, and so will the, with people's fingers, so will the Sharpie after a while. But
Yeah.
Could I
they'll
just
read
say,
it
everyone?
the first one or two times.
Could I just say, everyone has money. Everyone has money. Just write
No,
on money.
it doesn't.
And everyone sees money.
You-
That's the easiest,
So-
isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah.
I do.
I realised I was a little late with it, and definitely writing on money is there. But I just thought if we're writing on money, then let's write on everything else as well. Let's write on all universal stuff that just gets rinsed. Let's just write on it all. Whatever we can write
Right.
on, with legal.
On eBay, you can buy a brick, which is 100 lighters, for like $70. It's a tiny bit of an investment, but she's right. I actually was doing a different message at the time because I have been kind of an activist for different things.
Uh-huh.
And I would use the Avery labels and just stick them on there, print it off a color inkjet printer, and it makes a nicer splash than a Sharpie, and it's quick and easy, and you can do one off. You can even go down to Kinko's and do it off a color laser if you wanted to.
Yeah, I even originally suggested that to people. I said, if you buy a bunch of lighters, buy a bunch of plain t-shirts, buy a bunch of plain hoodies, and go to your local printers, I'm sure you can strike a rapport with them and they can give you a deal. And then don't do it to sell on to other people. Just do it to just get it out there. Just get it out there selflessly. Get it out there. That I personally feel an urge to do that. So personally, that's what I'm gonna do. But yeah.
I feel that the stickers is a good way. The underground music scene, Facebook, MySpace, all those cats. That's what they do. They'll pick 100 of their fans and send 1,000 stickers to each of their fans, and they just get to slap them up everywhere. I think it's a good activism.
Well, I'm sure there's even websites where you can order 1,000 stickers for like £5 or something. I'm sure there's like sticker.com or whatever.
Well,
Hey, can I just say, because Josh has just joined us, just in case he doesn't know who's on the panel. There's Angel, who's from California, Levkungfu UK, Patricia UK, Jay America. We've got new guest or member Roxanne, who's come on. She's UK, and of course you know who Astral is. He's from UK. Just so that Josh knows who he's talking to.
Hi.
It's all wonderful to me.
Yeah,
One thing.
I just want to say hi, Roxanne. I was sorry, I was late joining the chat today. And hello, Josh, and everyone else for that matter.
Hi, Astral.
Hi, everybody.
One thing I'd like to eventually see is that some techie person, if in fact after my move I may do it myself because it doesn't take a whole lot to set up, to make like a flat Earth coin, which can be an electronic form of currency that just by its own thing, it's like a form of currency which in itself will spark interest in what's a flat Earth coin, and they'll just research it. So it'll be a splinter in the dichotomy just by its own existence. And
even
if
a
it
physical...
only takes like 1% of market share, it'll make its way onto all the coin distributions.
You mean a physical coin, yeah? Not a
no
net coin.
It's a whole lot easier to have an electronic one. You can make anyone can make a electronic currency. Anyone. In fact, I think it'll come on more and more that even things like big chains like Amazon or something will come out with an Amazon coin. It'll just be like you have so much credit with Amazon, and they, because of the way that blockchain works, anyone can have an electronic coin. I can give you X number of angel credits and you can cash them in later, and whatever their value is based on what you decide. If I say, hey, I'll give me your couch, I'll give you 200 angel credits, then later you might be like, hey, I need you to like do such and such and such, and I want to cash in these angel credits. Anyone can make any e-coin, any electronic coin. And I'd love for there to be a flat Earth coin, even if it's just
Well,
like, you know,
I think
0.1% of the market will still be on a list.
I think Aaron Christcheck, he's doing that. He's got a Bitcoin that he's creating, flat Earth coin,
Right.
iron
What does he
coin.
call it?
Iron coin.
Does it?
I'm
What
sure
is it called?
that's it. Flat
Yeah.
Earth or iron coin. I'm pretty sure it's called iron
Well,
coin, but
Well,
yeah, I
see,
might
if
be
it's
wrong.
iron coin, then it's not flat Earth coin. The
Well,
whole idea is
iron,
just to be
Fe.
on the list.
Iron is Fe, the periodic table, so therefore it's a good name.
I get that, but that's kind of like the Masonic thing where, you know, there's an icon that you know what it means, but it really isn't completely in your face. Like if we had a coin that said like, that I endorse this coin at all, but pedophilia coin. Oh, you know, you need 3 pedophilia coins to get a 12-year-old and only like 17 to, I'm not going anymore. But so, you know, a flat Earth coin is in your face and what's a flat Earth coin? Flat Earth. It would just throw the name in your face. Now, granted, iron, Fe, is deceptively throw it in your face. But if you say Fe and you say it's because of iron, then people think iron. Like if I show you Building 7 falling and I say, look, it looks different than these ones that went from the top down, then you're comparing this to this, where iron coin isn't flat Earth coin, where it's in your face. Hey, this is just like controlled demolition, and this is Building 7, and this happened on 9/11, and this is controlled demolition. Black and white. It's how you present it. And I really think that somebody should just make a flat Earth coin. It doesn't, honestly, it takes putting a server online, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I this is really good because I just had an aha moment about advertising. So they call them magic markers. Magic, like, you know, our ghetto children who do spray painting and tagging stuff. I think, let me finish, just Quentin, well, easy. I think it would be good if we got our magic markers and went into stalls, and instead of saying for a good time, call someone's name, say for a good time, research flat Earth. Go back to those things.
That would work too.
Right?
But
for a good time,
blah, 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 blah.
And then put Eric Dollard or whatever the fuck, the website, they can go, oh shit, right in the toilet. Oh, that's true, it's flat, I'm taking a dump.
On the exact same coin, you can get an Avery book of stickers and print off on a nice color laser printer or something. Color things that set it so it only takes you a second to go slap and walk away, as opposed to whipping out a Sharpie and, you know, potentially fubbing up something. So either
I think
of
it's
them
correct
work.
though, like
And
in capital letters
last
with the
a day or
stall.
so,
I mean,
because
everyone reads the wall when you're taking a dump. It's like they have to see. I'm just saying.
The sticker will be there for a day or two. I guarantee it.
You can't wash off the damn.
Then we'll be like earmarked as the people that are littering, won't we? You know, and causing public damage and what have you. You know, because of course it costs a fortune to remove stickers from walls, doesn't it? You know. No.
Well, I think it's less to remove a sticker than Sharpie.
I can see the idea, but I think, well, that's, you know, it's the illegal route, and we shouldn't be doing that. We should just be focusing on things that are totally legal and totally legit. You know, put it in a
Wait a minute.
Right
Wait.
way.
What do you mean
That's me.
legal and legit though? There's nothing. People are doing horrible things to us legally, my brother. They're spraying us with shit.
Yeah,
right?
and
if we go,
yeah, but Jay, if we go spray painting on every bridge we come across, the earth is
flat.
I
didn't say bridge. I didn't say bridge, my brother.
No, but
it's
hang on
stall.
a second. Same point. If we go spray painting on every bridge, the earth is flat, we're no better than what they are then, are we? And we're going to get busted for it. That's what I'm saying.
Are you saying that people who spray paint their art are criminals, man? Those are your pharaohs. Those are your hieroglyphic people telling you history with their name when they tag. That's an art, man.
That's an art, graffiti. I've done it myself, and I was a criminal back then, of course.
So they demonize, but Astral, they demonize graffiti, brother. They demonize that, and they're killing little ghetto boys for trying to spray paint their art from their art, man. I'm sorry?
Talking about art.
What was that?
If anybody ever wanted to take some time, there are half a dozen overpasses over a 405 freeway here in Southern California that millions of people drive on. And all it takes is like from the 99-cent store a thing of styrofoam cups, and during the day you just pop them into the fence in a pattern that says flat earth, and it'll get recognition by a million people driving during rush hour. I just need a partner in crime.
Great.
There you
Voila.
go again. There you go again. Littering. Oh my goodness.
It's not
Styrofoam
littering.
as well.
How-
Styrofoam as well.
if
It'd
you
be
pop
blown
them
all
into a
over the
fence,
place.
You'd plug them into a fence. There's no littering involved.
Yeah, they're gonna sit there forever. I'm sorry. I'm being a devil's
They don't-
advocate now. You
If
know,
you
I could just see
really,
it.
honestly, I would.
It's a Catholic term, man. Devil's
I wouldn't be
advocate.
like a soy boy. I would take them away at the end of the day, and or eventually, if it became more and more aggressive, I would put LEDs in on them, so at night they glowed like a big sign. Because
Yeah,
I
a
don't
big-
really believe it's littering.
A big white sheet or three. One that says, you know, research. The next one says flat, and the third one says earth. You know, and you've got four
I think
pegs
all it has to
on
say
each
is
one
flat
holding
earth.
them up. Yeah, whatever.
I
You
think
know,
all
but
it
I
has
mean,
to say is flat earth.
something
Simple,
that you could
sweet
put
and
up.
simple.
Something you could put up and remove, then it's not causing any criminal damage. That's all I'm saying, you know.
It
Do
would
in a
put it in
good
the
way.
news,
Styrofoam
Astral.
cups
It
in a
would be
fence is not
newsworthy, though.
damage.
CNN would want to get in Fox, and then now we're in your face, like they're in our face, right? We got to be aggressive a little bit.
Styrofoam, right?
Saying.
Styrofoam cups in a fence is not damage. And if an officer came up there to address it, a sheet they can grab and pull down in one stroke, where cups would take them longer. And it would actually document a willful destruction of the First Amendment of speech when there is no damage. Styrofoam cups in a fence is not damage. And I will debate that on the jury stand or whatever. It is
Maybe
not
we
damage.
should try and do. Maybe we should try and get together in groups as it gets bigger, because obviously you know that we're doing peopleforpeople.live with Rich Thrive and Survive, and then maybe it takes a little bit of time, but we can get like who's in your environment, and then you know
Mentioned that
locality,
massively, Karen.
and then go for coffees and start
I
talking about
mentioned
it
that
publicly.
massively in my video today. People.
What was
Yeah, in
that?
my video today, I was speaking about people for people life, and I was encouraging everyone on my video today to go and register with peopleforpeople.life and go and get themselves a profile. And I was trying to spread awareness, and I was saying, listen, I feel our days are numbered on YouTube. You know, the platform is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And we really need to encourage our fellow truth seekers that may be good at computer software and stuff. We need much more platforms that provide a safe and secure platform for us to spread awareness on. So I urged people, actually, I went further than just saying it. I fully urged people to go on to peopleforpeople.life, and I mentioned Mr. Thrive and Survive, and I mentioned that I watched it here on your channel, Sun and Moon.
Hey. Yeah, it's a good thing. It is going to take a little bit of time to get together, and unfortunately, Rich has got flu this week, so he's not been very well. So he probably hasn't been doing much to it. But it started. People are joining, and it's exactly that. It won't be watched like we're watched on these things. It's not about that. It's just for the people, and hopefully to make communities. You know, you'll find out people,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. You can go for a cup of coffee. And then you can start
Yes.
talking about it. So you're talking about it, and maybe people will overhear you. We've got to
Yeah.
do things
True.
different.
That's
You know,
what I was talking about. I
we
touched
somehow
on
got to do
earlier
this
on, Karen.
peacefully.
I said, you know,
Peacefully,
when you're in
we've got-
places like Starbucks and coffee shops and stuff like that, at that point, I mean, I've done it with a couple of my pals. I've set conversations up. I know it sounds a bit, you know, conceited to do that, but, you know, sometimes that's what it takes. It takes two of us going back and forth in a coffee shop and going, you know, do you know what Fabio, the Pilates is, said to such and such yesterday? He said, oh my God, like, you have to look at this up. And sometimes you just have to clock the environment you're in and become fluid and kind of see it for what it is, and see how you may be able to just have a slight in with people.
for them to just give you 15 seconds of airtime. And people are nosy buggers sometimes, you know, in coffee shops. They love to earwig on people's conversations, and you have to play on that and talk just that little bit louder. You don't have to shout, but, you know, just even in simple places like coffee shops, is the opportunity to spread awareness with every human interaction you have on a daily basis. You can get to the point where you do it subconsciously and you don't even realize you're doing it. You know, regular interactions that you have at the petrol station with the guy that you see at the petrol station every other day, you know, say to him when you were at your doctor's, the doctor mentioned it to you. You look at the dumbfounded look on his face, but he'll be that dumbfounded that he won't shoot you down in a blaze of glory. He might say your doctor's crazy, but he will go away and think about it. He will. You have to
telling white lies there, though. Telling white lies.
You know, I said it in my video. I put my heart on my sleeve. I've been shot down in a blaze of glory more times than I've had hot dinners. And I mean, really shot down in a blaze of glory for saying, I believe the earth is flat. That's not how you're going to take people out of alpha beta state 9 to 5. You're not going to do it by saying the earth is flat and I believe it. That's not how I was woken up. It was years. That's why I feel us sharing our awakening experience. It's like a testimony, you know, your awakening experience. It's like being born again, you know, awake. And the more we share our own journeys, the more we can learn about how long it actually takes to go from A to B, from going asleep to awake. It took me from 2008 to 2015. That's a freaking long time, man. How many years did it take?
Can I suggest something? Or can I say something? One of the things that I was already awake on prior to the flat earth was our monetary system. And I have always been opposed to the fee for what they like to call, at least in our country, cashing a check.
Angel,
and when I would
you've
go
got a
in
snake
there,
around your neck.
Yeah, just one. But
Sorry.
I would go in there, and they started opposing about a half a decade ago a fee for cashing a check. And I'd be like, okay, that's great and wonderful, but that's because of your, oh, I don't have one right here. This is the best I have, a coin. And I said, it's because that's what in our country a dollar is as a coin. The inconvenience of maintaining coins on premises. But you're not providing us coins. You're giving us Federal Reserve notes, which are a bank note, which are
Correct.
a paper instrument.
Correct.
Then this is the difference between a dollar and a paper instrument, a debt instrument, a Federal Reserve note. And I would refuse to pay the fee unless they wish to whip out hundreds of dollars in coinage. And they say, oh, we don't have that much on hand. I say, oh, I'll gladly take the Federal Reserve notes, the world reserve currency, which you're welcome to provide me, but I'm not going to pay for the fee of wishing cash when you're giving me a world reserve paper instrument coin. I tell you, I start many battles because anytime I can wake anyone up to any one of them, depending upon the situation, I'm not going to talk to somebody about flat earth if I'm in a bank, except for there were times that people asked me, hi, sir, where are you? How is your day? What are you doing today? And I said, well, I actually happen to be going to a flat earth conference down in blah, blah, blah. And they're like, flat earth?
You
and I'm
see,
like,
that's the difference
yeah, you should
between me
check it
and you.
out.
I would engage someone in a bank, though, and this is how I would do it, okay? This is exactly how I would engage someone in a bank, and I've done it before, so I'll happily repeat
Go
it to
ahead.
you guys. It's called being rude, yeah? That's how you engage with people in a bank, yeah? You're rude. So as you're waiting in the queue for God knows how long, by the way, longer than is necessary all the time in banks, by the way. The last time I was in a bank 2 days ago, I waited 45 minutes to be seen. So when I was eventually seen, I carried on staring at my phone, okay? Stared at my phone until I'd fully got their attention because I gave them silent treatment. And that's how you really get someone's attention, by staying silent and taking your attention away from them until you've got them fully engaged. And then I go, sorry, I was just, my friend was just telling me, you know, Major, like flat earth, sorry, it's just really got my attention. And have one of those profound pictures that just really gets you and just say it's a really good friend of yours or whatever. I've got the time to do that every day, to slow someone else's matrix day down and go, wake up. But you don't say it like that. So yeah, I would engage someone in a bank. And sometimes I would say, my friend's a doctor, my friend's a teacher, my friend is a such and such, because I need to keep them engaged. And sometimes the only way you can do that is by using the same tools that they use against us. So,
in our situation,
sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. I fully rate what you're saying. I just wanted to add my 2 cents worth in. Sorry, guys.
You're good. Go ahead, Angel.
in my situation here in the States, and
Yeah.
like you're saying, we have in our banks, we've started to have like maybe 2 human tellers, technically mankind, but that's a whole nother story I can get into, and 5 or 6 automated tellers. And the person will come over to me and they will say, "Hi, are you blah, blah, blah cashing a check today? Oh, you can use our automated teller." And I say, "Oh, does it actually distribute cash?" And I always keep a dollar coin on me. And I say, "Does it distribute cash?" And I'll hold one in my hand. And they're like, "Oh, no, you have to go to a teller for that." And I said, "Okay, I'll continue to wait, because if they're going to charge me for cash, I want cash." And they're like, "Oh, well, you could go to this thing." I'm like, "Yeah, but they give those funny reserve notes." I throw these things at them to try to crack their Overton window. I actually have to take this call. Please hold.
No,
Can I say something about how to get information out? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Someone talking?
Go for it, Jay.
Yes. So before I say this, I hate taxes, and, I did mine yesterday, and I know what it means. So I always chant for the people that are harmed by it. But when I did taxes at the university here, I noticed sitting beside me, there was a young lady. She was reading and researching African art. Now before I used to have my headphones on and I would be bobbing my head in my own world, right? So I'm looking around, so I see her beside me and she's opening these books about the goddess. And so I said, "Hey, have you heard about Mama Wata in South Africa?" And it's a fish goddess. And so from there, she started to get interested in what I was talking about, because I was showing her how it connects. Then I said, "Where are you from?" She said, "Ecuador." I said, "Cool, check out the Mayan map of the earth." And we went to her computer, went to the screen, and she looked at it with eyes that were very non-judging, and she was like, "Oh, this is interesting." And I said, "See how it's a disc, and they show it's a dome." And I said, "If you look at other versions," I said it very calmly, "of the earth, there's like 8 different versions today." So now you can see our ancestors are saying something else. I encourage people to be aware of your neighbors if they're maybe doing something, and you can be social with them, and then encourage them to go to etymology or a website of the picture of the earth and the Egyptians, and say, "Hey," because we're cool. People like us. We can socialize. We're human flat earthers. We're not here to hurt people, right? We're here to welcome the people who are confused, or try. They're very angry, but
Yeah, we have to.
You
We're
gotta
doing
social-
it peacefully. We have to do it peacefully.
yeah, it works. It works.
it.
We all have wonderful personalities. We're all funny. Every one of you is
Positive
funny.
vibe.
What was that?
Peacefully and with positive vibes.
Exactly. No confrontation. No.
That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
it's like, "Hey,
When I
check
talk
this
about
out."
Creating people to throw under the bus. If you create an imaginary entity to throw under the bus, there is no conflict. You plant the seed in their head for it to be their own idea. Therefore, the conflict's gone. It's out of the way. It's gone.
Awesome. Simple.
So my little brother, we spoke a little bit about this. He's super scientific, and he got back to me a few days later, and he was like, jokingly, "I need some of that really good medical marijuana where you're at so I can learn more about the flat earth theory." And then he was like, "Oh no, I'm just playing. And I was like, "No, it's cool. I expect nothing but ridicule. No, it's totally fun. Like, you got to understand that even as like an atheist, that gravity becomes your new God. That becomes the atheist version of God, is that gravity." And I was like, "That's fine. We can argue about it, or you can look into what I'm saying. Not only decorative globes say globes are not for educational use. Don't let people on Facebook who cry at night because they're realizing daily that what they're built upon was lies, they will tell you, oh, that's only on decorative globes that say this. That's only on this that says that. Just keep peacefully and with positive vibes talking to them, same way I do with my mother about the great mother. And slowly that deception will come down and she'll no longer be a Jehovah's Witness and she'll understand the reality of life. You know, it's just like you said, peacefully and calmly, always peacefully and always calmly. I could have argued with my little brother about about the way he came to me, but I decided to let him feel like he, got the little one up with his little uppercut, and that's okay. If he feels better at the end of the day, and and he still logically thinks about what I say to him, it's okay. I'm the bigger person. I can take a few punches.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's beautiful. That was beautifully said, man. Wow, that was really touching. I liked hearing that. Very compassionate, because people under mind control. I saw one truther. He's very famous. I forget his name. He's a shill. Pardon me, but he's on outside in California, and he's interviewing people and asking them, "Hey, when was Independence Day, or what was it for?" And no one seems to know, right? And so every time someone doesn't know, he goes to the camera and says that they're dumb and they don't know shit. And I wrote beneath that thing saying, "Hey, man, they're under mind control. You might want to use that moment to say that we were still paying taxes to King George of England. There was no 4th of July independence, and we weren't really free anyways. You just hijacked a moment to help somebody and be peacefully saying, hey, that's cool, you didn't know this. Look right here." You know what I'm saying? As opposed to making fun of them or exposing, we have to convert like the Catholic Church does. They make it all perfect for you. You have French art in the church. You have statues in the church. You have organs, music, a gospel choir. It's awesome. It's distracting, right? So they're doing all these things to distract us, I think, to really go back to, whoa, this is all about me. Whew. And then absorb the power of your body. So when you talk to somebody, you're a reflection of the light that your body is telling you. Your lung means light. Literally, it means light. The lung in you is a torus field of solar energy. It's amazing symbolism. We look at technology is impressive. It has lasers and whatever the hell they're doing and crazy stuff. Boom. Okay, cool. They're doing whatever they're saying they're doing. They can make things blow up. But your body has the same energy to deflect it. So if we're combative, right? Yeah, go ahead, please.
Can I ask everybody on the panel a question? Is that okay, Karen?
Yeah.
That's a bit of an echo there.
If it's okay. If anyone's uncomfortable answering the question, that's absolutely fine. I don't mean everyone has to answer the question. I just want to put it out there to the panel. It would be really interesting if anyone could put a number on it just off the back, a real quick number just for all of the viewers. How many years or months would you put a date stamp on your awakening from going from completely not knowing anything about it to where you are now?
I'd love to.
14 months awake.
I would gladly stand in front.
Several years inquisitive.
Who?
I'm 30 years old. I would say since 5th grade. Once I realized that wrestling was fake, I started realizing all sports were fake. I had parents in my house that were teaching me to question government because of their religion. So I was already taught to question everything put in front of me. So, but religion, everything except religion. You can't question religion. But anyways.
True. Good point.
So for you, since you're a young child.
Absolutely, sister. I would say I was the youngest around me, telling everyone around me about what's going on and being told that I was a crazy person from a child. But absolutely.
Okay. Anyone else prepared to answer?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Jay. I was really sensitive as a child. There were so many things I knew. I was just mega sensitive, and that has never ever left me. I suppose I just came in it, relationships break up. I got into psychology and saw all this stuff through that for myself and just, for everyone else. And then it was 9/11, and then that really, that disgusted me. And then for me, what it all really meant came in 2016, January 2016. But I think it's always been there. We've always known it. All of us that have really woken up know. We just know. It's just, and I can't even believe, like, I just can't believe I believed half the things I did. But that's the programming they do, isn't it? We're just in an open air prison, really. That sounds really horrible. And
For me, the number I would put on it for everyone on the panel, this is the kind of quick pro quo I'm talking about, just for everyone in the chat room to kind of follow it nice and simply. I'm prepared to put a number on it. Like for me, it was from 2008 till now. So for me, it's been a 10-year process from my first, toe in the water, so to speak, to now. It's been a 10-year process. How is there a number everyone else can put on it as simply as that, just so the chat room can kind of
2016 for me till now. I woke up in 2016.
So a couple years for you.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
I'll have to say that my
It's
first
just
realization.
This is for awareness speaking. I mean, God knows how many people are in the chat room. Some of them may have been awake for months. Some of them may have been awake for years. But I'm trying to find a sense of solace with everybody, so that everybody knows that they're not alone in their own way,
Good point. Good. Well, that's awesome.
The last one
I'd
to
have
be
to
broken
say-
for me was the space one. Sorry, brother. I know you wanted to speak. I definitely wanted to put in there, since she's wanting to quantify full realization, I definitely will say late 2015, early 2016.
Couple years as well.
I'd say that I heard.
There seems to be a definite shift in consciousness that happened in 2015. I'm quite surprised. A lot of people that I do speak to that are semi-awake as well, as myself, and I call myself semi-awake for a reason. I don't feel I'm fully enlightened. I don't feel I've got to that 100% stage yet, but I feel like a lot of people kind of drop a couple of years into the mix, and I feel like there was maybe some kind of major energy shift. I don't know, but 2015, 2014 seems like a major pivotal point for, sorry to put my hands like that, sorry, a major pivotal point for an awareness shift.
Yeah.
It
is a slow waking up, isn't it? Unfortunately, because you have to find it or it finds you.
Someone's got a delay there because Karen was talking at the same time Lev was. I yield the floor.
I know. It's happened a bit tonight. There's been a few over talks, but anyway, carry on, Lev. You can talk.
Yeah, it keeps cutting out as my phone. I can't hear properly half the time. It's been worse today than it's ever been, really. The Hindus were talking about the ascension. It was supposed to begin in 2012. Like the Mayan calendar referenced it as well, and then 15 was supposed to be in the ascension then, and it were on the 23rd of September, the stand up to cancer date, and on the 2012 date and the 2015 events, all around the world kind of all meditated at the same time into this ascension. So, well, under a fear propaganda in the 2012 movie and whatever else and stuff. The other side were trying to push positive vibrations, kind of thing. So I think a lot about that in a way. I kind of woke up in '96. I didn't realize the Earth was flat until 2015, but I kind of woke up to spirituality and I kind of got a lot closer to that. And I've been lost since then until I found flat Earth, and it kind of like it seems to connect to it now to me. So yeah.
There definitely seems to be a common denominator in the chat room as well. A lot of people are sharing they're putting a number on it and kind of calling out how many years they've been awake. It's really interesting to see how many people have been awake for a similar period of time,
Yeah, there was a big wake up.
It seems that way, right?
I'm also wondering if there's some sort of like correlation between people that travel, maybe, many of us travelers, and I know I travel extensively, and I know that a few of the others that are flat earthers have traveled a lot. you know. It's just it springs to mind, that was all.
Valid point.
And a lot of empathy. I noticed a lot of people seem to have like their own pets or whatever.
Yeah, hopefully there's a bit more of it as well. So we need more empathy. There's not enough empathy. We seem to have lost that bit of it. But then that's how they've programmed us now, isn't it? We're not supposed to be talking to each other anymore. You can't. Astral was talking about it. You can't even talk to each other at work anymore.
I almost lost my job at one point. I changed jobs because I outed myself as a flat earther. That was my first change of tactics after that. That was
We've also have Lady Copilot on. It's the same thing for her.
Yeah. Dangerous move, that. Don't out yourself as a flat earther when you're around people that are in alpha, beta, state 9. What does everyone else, sorry, Karen, what does everyone else think of stages of awakening? Does anyone else have a ethos on that at all, a premise on that? Does anyone else even buy into that thought of stages and any kind of analogy we can give to people to spread awareness of that and let people understand that it's probably not going to be a quick pro quo with people, and you're not going to get that gratification of waking people up more time.
Oh, I think something cut out for a second. Sorry, was that only me?
Yeah, it's a bit strange today, but we've got very nice weather. It's always raining here, so it might be the UK.
Yeah. Can I just say that when I first woke up, I actually was very disturbed, and I was very hyper about it. I'm very compulsive. And so when I got the information, I didn't really think like with strategy, because the thing about these Freemasons and how they get us under mind control, they work really well together at fooling us by pretending to be happy meals, happy meal, it's happy time, happy hour. So you're drinking for happy. So it's really like, yeah, I had to figure it out. Like, okay, I need to chew my food. It took me a good 1.5 years to really slow down and look at my dance to see how I could use art. And still it was hard, because then people are afraid of the earth still. So now I'm still wrestling because people don't like nature. They hate the earth. It's sick. It's the most frustrating thing as a dance teacher. They cannot talk about earth at all, even the grass. It's crazy. I'm paranoid. A parent said to me, "Hey, Mr. J, where do you live? We saw you outside enjoying nature." I was like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. And in front of all the people on their damn phone, they're like, what? What's nature?
Does that mean you were taking a leak in the flowers on the side?
Could be, Angel. So, yeah, I had to figure it out and really pace myself. And I'm very intense. So even today, it's still a hit or miss, how you deliver it. Mm-hmm. It's an ongoing process for sure, for me.
Jay, you feel that you as a ballet dancer are treating the children differently as humans and getting their energy out and showing them things. All the children dance, understanding the elements. But the moment you try and turn around and talk to them, they have kind of poo-pooed you because they just wanted you to get on with your job. They didn't want you just look like a problem.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, that was very disappointing for me, because what was silly about it, and this is how mind controlled we are. This is really crazy. When I sent my audition video for the studio, I showed clearly that I teach the 5 elements and that I had 8-year-olds that have memorized it and I'm doing it with them. That specifically attracted them. And she has an elementary school attached to her ballet school. I thought it was brilliant. We talked about the damn thing. All of a sudden, a year goes by after all my awesome work and 8-year-olds memorizing Earth as a cube, by the way. They're not saying Earth is a ball. Earth, the cube, I got video after video. And if I could chime in very quickly, I was writing on Brother Sanchez's page, and someone said the Earth was round. I'm very blessed and grateful to see this. I said, "Sir, how is the Earth round when in geometry it's the cube?" The person still battled me, took pictures of this. I said, "Okay, I'm going to show you how the Earth is the cube." I sent the link right away and responded. The individual liked it. I sent videos of me teaching children saying Earth is the cube and evidence of my work. The individual liked all of those and then ended the conversation with, you know what? I don't have all that. All I have is what I have. There's an opening for me to now then say, hey, this is how the earth should be. Because we should not be afraid. We should not be mind controlled to embrace something that seemed great about you and the earth and the elements. And then because you want to win trophies and you want to go off and into a dance academy in which these girls will be throwing up in the bathroom because they don't know that Aurora in Sleeping Beauty is damn Venus and Easter. This woman told me, oh, the goddess thing. I don't know about the goddess thing. I'm like, what do you think sugar plum fairy is? The sugar plum? You know what the Saturn's alchemical metal is? Lead. Lead and plum are the same word in etymology. Sugar plum. So these are important things for, I think, children to know, you know, so it's a very sensitive thing for me. Yeah. So I'm trying to work on it with them. They're hard-headed and I have to fit it because these are the people that I want to wake up. We have to wrestle with these people because they're so hard, but they're good
Jay,
people.
You know,
my aha moment was you said lead and plum are the same. If you look back at masonry, what's it called when they find level? It's a plumb bob, and it's made of lead or mercury.
in addition to that, lead is sweet, which is why people used to eat lead paint.
Yes, and then you're going to get lead bullets. Bull, Taurus. I'm going to fill you full of caps. You're kaput.
Yeah, I don't think people really want the sweetness of the lead when they get shot.
No. Hence why it's important for me to teach children the element when they're 8 years old in dance class. They're saying it earth, water, air, fire, ether, dodecahedron, blah, blah, blah. We got the studio. So now they can see connections, boom, boom, boom. Instead of adults drinking milkshakes that fill their brain full of acid and all they want to is win trophies and have them more muscular, but their goddess symbols are not being uplifted and they're going to have bad choices. Because I've been in ballet companies where the men and the women, they're all sleeping around with each other because they're all lustful. I did it. I get it. Nothing, it happens, right? We're all not clear with what we represent. So dance is meant to be a personal, intimate experience with nature, not technical. Never say you don't dance. Ever, ever say you don't have a rhythm. Or no, don't ever say you can't rap, that you can't sing, that you can't beatbox, whatever that draw, just do it. Your body knows how to move. A movement is you, not a corporation. I yield the floor.
Absolutely. And letting go is the biggest part of that. Whatever walk you take, let go.
Yeah. Yeah. You can make people turn to your advantage when you have evidence. My new thing now is all my trolls. I have some. It's okay. If you troll me, I'm going to show you evidence of what I do. I'm going to show you I'm all about children. I'm not going to beef with you. I'm not going to ever beef with you or try to make it worse with you because you're my reflection, by the way. So it's cool. I make peace with my trolls because I'm the goat going over you in the bridge. I'm the Capricorn going past you because my hoof is a symbol of the damn pyramid. And I am the temple passing by you, the fire, tetrahedron. Troll, it's okay. I'm gonna show you evidence of what I do. So if you troll me, give me your evidence of what you do first. I yield the floor.
I'd like to ask, since you seem to be a connoisseur of this, if you could find a specific ballet that was released on XYZ date, and in the ballet, because of how you do your whole seasons and elements and all that other stuff, dictates a date that correlates to a particular event that may or may not have occurred in reality. Because I do believe that how you mentioned the ballet and how it came apart, in the whole French was the origin of the ballet, and knowing how our militaries all work, that they would need a way to relay information discreetly. And, I'm just pointing that out.
No,
but,
great question. I can answer. Keep going. No, I have something for you. Go ahead.
If you can show documentation of that, it'll show how it really shows how you can take, and say, when Cancer is in the sun and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, show that how the ballet can be used to dictate a time and date using the celestial bodies, would show how the celestial bodies can be used as a chronological device,
Sure.
as opposed to our little iPhones and stuff. Because I do believe that in reality, we should be using the heavenly bodies as our chronological device.
Yes, sir. Yes, good point. Well, I can answer it in a lot of ways, man. I know what the ballet. Well, let me first make it simple. All the ballets are about astrology right away. It blew up in the 1500s. Boom. The first ballet was made by an Italian man. It was based on Jason and the Argonauts and his 12 companions. I think you know where we're going now. The Society of Jesus. They also have a society of ballets that they made. And Medici, the queen who killed 50,000 Huguenots, Protestants, she was the biggest patron. We have a liquor called patron, by the way, be careful. She was the biggest patron of the arts. And so here we have this woman slaughtering lives. And then now in this time period, during, I would say, the rise of these Freemasons infiltrating, pretending to be one thing and another, and creating chaos. The Order Through Chaos in Latin, a very good one for people to research. So when you look at the ballets now, basically, Jete means Jesus in etymology. And then it relates to Jupiter. So I would encourage people to, like what Angel said, yes, study where planets can go or orbs in terms of houses, because Jupiter is everywhere in etymology. My goodness, and it's really cool. So that takes me to, okay, a vicarship now. So we have a movement, right, in a certain time period where they're using dance to basically express Jesus and their fiery energy. So then Medici marries King Louis, who is French, and we know the French Freemasons. It's very big there. What is it? The Sion is one of the biggest Masonic lodge there. And so he's the Sun King, and he's now making ballet. Even more interesting, because he was into theater and plays. So interesting, he's an actual actor who understands, this is interesting, how to physically and theatrically embody the stars and give you this impression of Jesus Christ again. When you go to Swan Lake, that's perfect astrology. I'll tell you what it really is. Rothbart is a bad character in the ballet, gives it away. Roth means red. We know red is Mars planet, is red planet, simple. The sorcerer, what Mars energy does, Mars actually literally controls your blood flow. If I'm good with astrology, I can do blood sacrifices in Hollywood and literally get you to do something. I think you know where I'm going. It works. No, Mars is important. So Rothbart is this demon in this ballet, where we have a black and white swan. Well, we have the Columba constellation, means the dove is white. Corvus means the crow, the blackbird. Now, what are those birds doing? Very simple. The dove, we know, told Noah the flood was receding in Nisan 17. The dove told Noah, which is a white bird. It's simple. So then Jason and the Argonauts, didn't a dove lead him to the golden fleece, the sun? So Rothbart is a symbol of energy, dancing with your constellations metaphorically. And then we get Siegfried. Siegfried means victory. Sol Invictus, right? Sol, sun, victory. The sun will always win. It's a very simple rising and setting. It really is that simple. It's really awesome. So when you go to see Swan Lake, you can see it's a story about you. Siegfried gets tempted by the black swan, which is the Corvus constellation, right? Siegfried is the sun. So here it is, Jehovah's Witnesses, right? For you Jehovah's who knock on people's houses, well, the constellation is a house, and the sun goes to each house, right? So if I'm dancing that, if I'm doing a piece where I'm expressing how these orbs move, it's important to know that Siegfried is simply the symbol of the sun, getting tempted by the dark Saturnian crow. Saturn is black, painted black, very simple. He gets tempted and he dies. What happens to Jesus? Boom, dies, comes back. So then Siegfried dies for this bird. And in American Ballet Theater's version, I've seen the last act. I'm almost done, pardon me for the long-windedness. It's a very good question, Angel, because it's gonna help me to really make more sense out of dance. In the last act of Swan Lake in ABT in New York, a big company, Siegfried and this white swan jump off a cliff, and they rise with the sun, which simply means it's the alchemical wedding of your solar energy and your solar plexus and the degrees of the sun, always giving you life after death, another chance. You will rise if you know where you're going. So it's tricky in black and white, but the ballets are really intricate. Nutcracker's the sun, cracking the light of the sky, of the sun, of the sky. I don't want to talk for too much longer. Sorry, I yield the floor if you wanted to.
I'm listening. I'm 4-to-1 ratio. 2 ears, 2 eyes, 1 mouth. I'm absorbing more than I'm putting out right about now.
After hearing Jay say that, all I can say is you should start breaking down some of these ballets for us.
I'd love to. Don Quixote. Let's get into it. Don Quixote. It's
If
about
anyone, if anyone is opposed, I guess I could understand, but I definitely want, explanation, to go visuals to match.
Can you go into truth? Can you go into truth again? Can you just go and relay what truth means about the what did you say?
You mean tutu and the word Taurus?
The tutu.
You wanted me to look it up?
We're all seeking truth, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We're all seeking truth. We're all trying to make people aware to seek the truth and to understand that the truth does not fear investigation. If you want to break down all of those words that I just said, by all means, as you say, I yield the floor. But the truth itself does not fear investigation.
The truth is like a lion. It doesn't need to be defended.
But
Great.
Because we're all truth seekers, I thought it was quite poignant that we should all understand what the word truth means and where that derives from. If we can all learn something and share it, maybe that's helpful. I don't know.
Good point. Well, can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you see truth?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to show you how to do this. So this is etymolion.com, and this is how I do my research now. It really makes it much easier and more sense with connections. So I type in truth, Taurus, Torah, maybe Jesus, Allah, goddess. When I push enter, let's see what happens. You get Torah, goddess, Allah, truth, Jesus, Ma'at, Taurine, all side by side. Let me slow it down once again. Torah, Allah, truth, and Jesus, and Ma'at. So when we speak these words, right, we're embodying all the bodies of the heavenly or celestial bodies. Your words are rituals. Was someone saying something? Pardon me.
No, I'm just agreeing. I'm just sorry. I'm just making yes noises. Sorry. Please carry on.
No, you're fine. So I wanted to also show you how your body is very important. So here's your kidney, literally relates to your soul. Your kidney is a part of you, right? So you have to know that when you're putting things in your body, there's a certain thing that's talking to us about what it really is. It literally is the soul. And it says egg here for Egypt. We're all Egyptians. We're all pharaohs. We're all these heroes that these intellectuals love to get you to go see in a movie, and then they never make a connection. Let me do this real quick. Let's do Swan, Isis, Venus, Jesus, and see what happens in etymology. Very slow. So we have Isis here, Swan, we find Venus, we find Jesus. Oh, the black swan, are you kidding me? Isidore, Venusian, we have Jeepers, Creepers, the movie. So now if I'm into pop culture, I can have how many aha moments in one, and then go and do a presentation for you because it's your information. So the ballet Swan Lake, my people, is simply about Venus. And I'll show you some more. So we can go nutcracker. We go nuts. We know in Egypt it means sky. Yeah, go ahead. What was that?
I was going to say, Jay, I still don't understand that. If you put, Isis and Swan and Venus and Jesus in the search bar, you're going to get those results. So how do you relate them? I don't understand how they're related, because I couldn't see how they were related, those.
They're related because basically they're side by side. In etymology, it takes you to the words and it leads you to the other ones that relate to them. For example, I'll show you how it works. Look, nutcracker, watch this. I know it's a bit tricky. It's a good question. When you look up nutcracker, it then takes you to the diversity, nursling, you get nurture, you get nut. So let's go on to nut and see what happens, right? You go to nut, nut takes you to nucleus. So now I'm seeing the word nut morph into a part of my body. So if I say nutcracker to you now, or if I say a metaphor, I can then say, hey, this is a symbol of your body. It's a symbol of your consciousness. So that's basically the way I do etymology. I just get the word right away, what relates to it, and then I expand upon the words that relate, because I relate to Astral, I relate to Karen, Roxanne, all of you. We're all etymology, we're reflections of each other. One name goes into another, and it dances. So when I'm saying that Isis is Jesus is Swan, they're all up in the stars. Like Santos always says that Jesus is Jupiter, Saturn, because they're also transgender. They're male and female. That's why astrology is so like, it's intense. It's hard to grasp. It is. It's hard to see it sometimes. I'll be honest. But yeah. So did you want me to go more into ballets or make some space for comments? Sorry.
Well, did you hear enough then, Angel? Did that answer everything for you? Angel.
I'm letting everyone take a moment.
Yeah, my
to
brother, go
speak.
ahead.
Yeah, I definitely was asking if he would break down the ballet moves and the ballet, you know, he was saying that these ballets correlate to certain things, and I would like him to break them down. That's all.
Right. Okay, well, I want to let some more people speak if they want to, though. Is that cool, Karen?
Yeah, go on then, Jay.
All right, well, let me go back into etymology and take us into the land of ballet. So it might take me some time because I'm going to go into different screens, but all right, so let's just go. Do you mind if I go to etymology again and show you how the words relate to certain gods? So for example, when we go to etymology again, I'll slow it down. So make sure it's nice and clear. So the term jeté. Okay, jeté is a ballet step. I'll put ballet and then I'll put Jesus side by side just to show you how they work together. So jeté, ballet, and Jesus. Now, when I go to a different screen, I'm going to show you what jeté looks like. This is a very good question. Jeté, ballet, step. And let's see what we get for images here. Okay, we get a man already dancing here. Okay, so here is your jeté. It's a jump in the air where your legs open like this. And if you look at the geometry of the lines, she's making L, Saturn L, and then she has her little tutu, which means grandmother, of course, which is beautiful. And that little disc around her is the earth. And her body there, in my opinion, is Mount Meru. And we're dancing through the rings of ballet. You also have fondue in ballet, which is to melt. But there's other terms that I can look at. Let me see. Yeah, I'll give you, because I don't want to hog this too much, but let's go to scarab. This is a really good one. Beetle and Cancer. And just very simply, we'll see how the scarab of Egypt became Cancer, the crab in astrology. All right, so remember that word scarab. Well, that's Arab. So when I go search for ballet steps, arabesque, ballet, we'll find like scarabesque, we'll see a certain line. And you'll see a very similar line of the L shape. So here's scarabesque. Beautiful dancer here. She's got very good line, of course. I mean, when you train for this, you'll notice she's very turned out and flat. And then her geometry is square. And Earth is the cube. So here we are, squaring off our body. And in ballet, we have terms like you want to stay square with your hips. So this dancer here is like the Earth cube geometry, keeping her square line, honoring the geometry of Mother Earth. Hence why it's beautiful. And then on her head is the bun. Bun is a symbol of the earth because bun is also Pan, and Pan relates to Gaia, and Gaia is the earth. It's really interesting because there's so many connections that people don't like to see. Now we go into the ballets. This is a really good idea. I feel very honored to do this. I'm going to go very quickly into one called SYL, the Sylph, spirit, because you all have to know what spirit really means. spirit, breathing, and then we'll put in ballet, and we'll put in goddess etymology first for you all to see. So we have goddess, ballet, breath, spirit. Sylph means spirit in Latin, I think, but we'll go find that in a second. So let's just go here quickly to the ballets, and we'll type in this ballet called LASSYLPHIDES So here's the Ballet Sophie. Now you'll notice something very beautiful about this ballet. It's about the goddess. First thing you're going to notice is black and white colors for your Freemasonic, lodges, but that's okay. That's not necessarily an evil thing. It's simply yin and yang. The women are wearing white because sylph also means spirit, and I'll go and find that for those who might not know that word. It's a very good one. So SYLPH means spirit. Boom. And then we have sylph, and you see how easy it is to do your research with these search engines. So you find sylph and spirit. Now let's go back to Les Sylphies. So every ballet, my people, will have these women dancing in white as the sylph, as the spirit, because you are the Holy Spirit, women. Ballet is telling you it's the ball of ET. This is going to blow your minds. Really awesome symbol for my women out there who are tired of being repressed and treated like shit. Well, BALL, we have that. We have ET, estrogen, and goddess. Pardon me, I misspelled that. Let me fix that. Boom. So you see, goddess, et, ball, it's all connected. So et is a reflection of goddess. And when you go to estrogen, it'll all connect even more. So it's very clear. Hold on. Bam, boom, bam. Yeah, estrogen, there you go. Et and ball. So it's the ball of ether or Esther. And once again, go to the picture. You're looking at flat earth dancing too, man. They do all kinds of, look at the earth. The stage is, of course, flat. We jump. I'll show you some jumps too, if that's cool. Let me know if I'm going too long. Cut.
Joe, you cut out then.
Yeah.
Jay. Everybody else is there. Oh, you cut out, Jay.
Thought that as well. I didn't want to hog the mic. I thought I'll give everyone else an opportunity to talk. I've got so much to say, but I thought I'll give everyone else their time.
Well, we'll start with Jay.
I was going to just say, feel free to chime in. Yeah, we don't hear new people that often.
Jay will be back in a minute. Go on then, Roxanne. Now is your chance.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so some of the things that I've been looking into, obviously stages of awakening, trying to share my story on that. I've also been trying to look into the lack of conversations that go on about Antarctica. Everyone seems to leave that subject alone or not dwell on it too much. And I feel the more we talk about Antarctica and what we don't know about it and the information that's not there about it, the more we can spread awareness on trying to make people actively want to know about it.
Have you seen the latest video? Have you seen the latest video about convex flat Earth?
Yeah. Heavily
what
disappointed.
Did you think about?
I was heavily disappointed with it. The backing music alone was diabolical. Maybe I set my expectations too high. I just didn't really think they were going to regurgitate stuff I already knew, stuff I could already observe with my own eye and did do. Not really. I kind of gave it a thumbs down, if I'm being honest with you. Sorry for anyone that didn't. I'm not trying to offend anybody.
They didn't actually explain how they got the land to change like that and how they got the way that they did their map. They didn't explain all that. It was just, that's the way it went. And I just don't see how this high altitude.
It's just a massive letdown as far as
an ice wall up there, and the ice wall's bigger there than it is around us. So I don't get all that. I didn't get things, but I was just relieved that someone else had. I thought someone else was having a go at sort of trying to show and explain, but I don't see they didn't have some of the people in the right places to actually know this. Yeah. And while you're there, Roxanne, anything else you want to say then?
There's a ton of stuff I want to say. I wanted to, like I said, help everybody with interactions, everyday interactions, and spreading awareness. Just reaffirm the fact that. Can I reaffirm the fact that everybody on the panel agrees the fact that we don't live on a globe?
Well, yeah, we don't live on one of those.
Yeah. So first and foremost, to just get that out there and to get everyone researching flat Earth and to just try and spread awareness for useful tips and hints, so that if there's any of those that are out there just now that are not interacting on a physical level with people every day and they want to try and give useful tips and hints for them to just start engaging with people ASAP.
Yeah, and you've already shown us the lighter way. The lighter way.
Yes.
The lighter way.
As I said, everyone, no matter what country you live in, I'm sure there's an automobile company near you where you can go and get your personalized little thing, not a private registration plate. I'm talking about the little printed thing that you can put on the bottom of your registration plate. Everyone can go and do that for maybe 10 or 15 pounds. Everyone can get their own merchandise made out to give out to your own family for Christmases, birthdays. Yes, you can buy into the factor of if it's an opportunity to give people gifts, then go right on ahead. Another thing that you can do is to get your own, build up a rapport with your local printer, buy yourself a really plain phone case, get it printed on your phone case, get it on your bank card, get it on your travel card. The youth, the more we can give the information to the youth before they're fully put to sleep, the better it is. They're the people we're handing the batons over to. So for anybody that has youth in their family, try and get engaged somehow with the youth in your family, even if it's just a little seed of awareness.
Absolutely. Yeah. I even said maybe this way isn't too expensive if people getting a t-shirt and going out in it, something they're wearing. Maybe some people already do.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
that's what I mean. Just little by
little. Don't be afraid to get a t-shirt that says it on and go out in it.
I want to know about the conference, the UK conference. It's seldom talked about. I mean, has anyone heard anything about it? Is it cancelled or what? I mean, I've not heard anything. Is it just me? The conference in Birmingham, is it still going ahead? Or, I mean, I've not heard anything. It's like...
It's a convention, but I haven't heard it's cancelled or anything.
No idea.
I haven't. Yeah, it's in 3 weeks' time in Birmingham. Don't know, Astral.
Okay.
Jay, we lost you at the very end there, but we kind of got the real gist of what you were saying. And yeah, thanks so much for that.
Is this me?
Did you want to just finish it off? Because obviously now we've changed the subject.
No, you're fine. How much? Because I mean, my sound cut off. I've got a Chromebook and it cuts my mic off. And were you able to see most of it? I don't even know where it was. Pardon me.
Yeah, we saw it and very much appreciate you showing us all.
Oh, you saw? Okay, good. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, I just wanted you all to see the symbolism. I'm very passionate about women. If I could say this, my thesis is going to be done and performed April 12th, 13, or 14. And it's my honor to be in an establishment that is directly responsible for MK Ultra, the university that does not teach the universe is in your body. I am going to be performing Venus in the physical form as a symbol of all the women who are repressed and tired of being a booty call, the single moms who get left behind to have to raise the thing. I know there are single dads too. I have compassion, but there's a big number of young girls that are having babies and they're hanging on to them like they're a part of their purse. So we have to be careful with our children, our young girls. So I'm very happy and honored to be on the show. I'm grateful for the panel, Karen, Astral, all of you, Angel. You all make me better researchers. The chat room, seriously. If you have any ideas, aha moments, please talk to me. I love to learn from you too. So, yeah.
Thanks, Jay.
I think Angel's got a good little advertisement thing going on there. That's a kind of a smart idea. Can you not
I live right here.
reword it?
Right here.
No,
That's where I live.
Your shirt, man. The laser on your shirts. Can you not change the
all-
thing on that, the wording on it or something?
All good girls go to heaven.
The laser's not on his shirt. The laser's in front of his camera. It's a
Oh,
clock
this.
set.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a clock thing. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, it looked like that, don't you know what I mean?
I was going to say what I was looking for more in the ballet, because I believe it's there if we look for it and try to read it, is where they will say, like, at late October, they will be, attack, things like that nature. They will correlate times and dates based on celestial movements within a ballet that was released at, like, in November for an attack that happens in January. And I think if we look for it, it's most likely there because, military has always been looking for ways to discreetly relay information, and if you do it within the art,
Yes.
it's,
Yeah.
right in your face.
I understand what you're saying. I get it now. You know what I'm going to do? That's awesome. I'm actually going to ask Santos eventually to help me with that. He's much better at astrology and in decoding with mythology.
Right.
I'll actually maybe even pitch that as an idea to him because I actually wanted him to
Just
help me
like,
to elevate my... Yeah, go ahead.
Right, just like Wizard of Oz. If you look at the book more than the movie, if you look at the book and you look at what was changed between the book and the movie, because when you look at what was changed, it kind of enlightens you to what to focus on. Just like the difference between the book and the movie of the one with the hotel and where they foreshadow the whole it's after shadow technically the whole moon landing phenomenon. The Shining.
Oh,
Stanley
have you
Kubrick.
seen that? The Shining. Yeah, that guy.
The guy that
it's
yeah.
hypothetically, when you look at the movie, he's kind of like, look, I did it, and yeah, in the movie, he's kind of look, I did it, and he puts little, Easter eggs within the movie.
All the way through.
I just got to run. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Bye, Jay.
Yeah, just like I think within many of the publications of opera and or ballet, there are Easter eggs that are relaying information, especially when you look at the fact that the ballet movements are all relational to astronomical signs and or the seasons and or times of day, that you can relay information within a ballet telling them like, hey, in January we're going to attack at noon, and you're just you're publicly putting it out there where everyone can read it, but only if they know what to look for. Just like Masonic symbols, if you know how to read them, or Roman numerals. If you don't know how to read Roman numerals, it just looks like cool little slash marks and stuff. If you know how to read Roman numerals, it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
So they can put stuff under your nose that unless you know how to read it, it's right there.
Well said.
It's
well said.
I think it's the same way with Masonic symbols.
I'm going to say Roxanne is like one step ahead of quite a lot of us because she understands Latin, and if you understand Latin, then all these old books, you know, they're so valuable.
Yeah, if you understand Latin, you understand what the doctor says, because doctors say back pain, arm rash, ankle pain, you know, joint pain, joint swell.
Yeah,
I mean,
and all the
all
botany as well. Von Linné, the Swedish botanist, he named all of the plants and he gave everything Latin names. So thankfully to them.
And they're all in your face, just like
Give me a sec.
you know, if you take some of the names and you break them down into their own words, they say, like, you know, something might be like pork fat, but it sounds great in French, and they name their company like pork fat, you know, and what are they selling you? Bacon, you know. You know, it's like in your face, but it sounds good in another language. And if you don't know what you're eating, honestly, in French, you could tell me you're like stealing my money, and I would love it, because I think the French language sounds awesome. But it's like it in Latin, they're telling you knee pain, skin rash, you know, muscle pain, bent spine. I mean, it's all in Latin. And all it is the doctor says, hey, this guy has a bent spine. So he goes to the next doctor and he says, oh, you have bent spine. So does it hurt? Yeah, it hurts right back here in my spine. Oh, because you have a bent spine, but you say it in Latin. You know, it's all.
Yeah, but you can see the good side to it, can't you? In that we can go from country to country, and it's understood by looking in our journals what we've suffered from. You know, you've had a broken tibia or a broken fibia or whatever, you know. So it's good in that sense.
Roman Marshall, myself. Well, really, what it is the doctors can tell you what is the ailment, what is the symptom.
If I start speaking, it might come on the bigger screen so everyone can see. This is the book I was talking about earlier on, the book that was given to me as a little girl by my grandmother. Books far older than me, way older than me, quite a bit older than me. And that book was given to me when I was 4 years old. That, for one, was rammed down my throat. And this is from the Catholic grandparents. And this book here, that one, that was given to me at 4 years old by my primary school at an assembly. That is the first thing you see. I don't know if you can see this when you open the, hold on. Let me see if that helps. Hold on. That is the first thing you see when you open it. A map. And the next page you see is a page printed by my school saying the Bible has been presented to me. And that was in the year 1984. That was presented to me, and I was to have that on me at all times, recite from it at all times. From the other grandparents, I had this to recite from at all times. And that's just my journey of indoctrination as a child, yeah? Amongst the Tooth Fairy, amongst Santa, amongst the Easter Bunny, yeah? And that's just to help anybody else to know that how far awake I've become despite all of the drivel that was rammed down my throat as a child. I do believe in something, but I'm very sketchy about talking about religious attributes on any level, because I'm not sure how conceited it's become. And that's why I'm always striving for information about original scriptures and scriptures that have been undiluted, so that we can try and attach ourselves to some type of original knowledge. Sorry for waffling on again there, guys. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. We're all here talking. Sometimes you have to just butt in because everybody wants to talk. And they've got their bit to say.
Oh, sorry, for your Karen, this book, this small book, by the way, this I don't know if I'm going to be able to get anybody to be able to read, but one of them is written in English, and one of them is written in Latin. Okay? And it was my job as a child to learn it and recite it, to write it, to read it, to speak it, to understand it, and be able to recite it back, a little bit like the education system. And it was drummed into my head, most of it. So yeah, just wanted to let everybody know that. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not a very nice place we've been put in, is it really? It's far away from where we want to be. We're hopefully going forward into a better place now, spiritually and stuff.
I think for the only purpose of that was to show how deep the indoctrination had been in my life. I'm wondering, you know, at the end of some of these sitcoms, they say if this storyline has affected you in any way, please call this number. I'm hoping that anything that might be said in this hangout, Karen, might resonate with some people, and they say, right, okay, I'm not so alone. How can I have all this indoctrination yet still feel so enlightened to want to know the truth? So there may be other people like myself that have been fully fledged, rammed down their throat, indoctrinated to this, indoctrinated to that, but yet still seek enlightenment of some sort.
Yeah, I think it's just recognizing how much indoctrination we've been put through. And I say through research, 1960s. So not even that long have we been a ball, not really. And I know that Angel, like other people talk about times, but they're only telling us that all these people said these things hundreds of years ago, you know, because in the 1900s, you know, like coming out of the Victorian time, a lot of families would have said that they were lived on a flat plane because they knew that that's what the generations would have done. But something happened, didn't it, with the wars, distraction, destroying everything, and then fear, and then comes the live vision and NASA and time savings, the globe. Oh yeah, NASA, all one after the other. But I think also that bit with moving to when that film came out. Oh, what's it called? Oh, I can't think what it's called now. I'm just gonna say it. Sandra Bullock one. When that came out, I think that's where people started to go, hang on, it looks better on the film than it does in real life. So that's, I think, really started waking people up, that film.
I do think that the lie seed was planted in the 15th century. And ever since then, they've had it as an underlying core agenda. And I can really get into how, if you think that you are on a planet that happens to be an anomaly within a huge universe, you feel inferior and hence don't have the will to fight. And that's a psychological thing. As opposed to if this particular domain in which you live was engineered by a power that be and gave you a domicile to live and you're sovereign, that's a whole nother story. But you know, it depends on which rabbit hole you want to go down. There's a lot of them, and I think as far as awakening goes, you kind of need to learn you've been lied to once to allow you to have the desire to look for the truth. And there's so many different things you can wake up to. Like, I could spend 30-40 minutes with somebody and there'll be some deception that you do not know the full information to, hence you've been awakened to another lie. So there's awakenings every day if you're willing to take the time to absorb the truth and but first you have to admit that you have been lied to and be willing to look for the truth, because many people are just like, give me my cereal, let me play on Facebook, I'm happy, I don't want to know the truth, because they don't. They wish to be complacent. It's the whole Stockholm syndrome, the whole you watch the news, you believe the news, because if you watch your primary broadcast, whether it be BBC or in our case, NBC, CBS, well, NBC's not bad, CBS and BBC and CNN and things like that, you're only told, they only give you the information they wish to give you. They don't give you the truth. You know, they'll tell you, hey, there was a bus crash. They don't say, hey, there happened to be this weird bus crash that the only person who happened to die would be this one guy who was on a jury against Monsanto and he was the swing vote or something. You know, it's just they leave those little facts out.
Yeah. I agree.
Is that one of those little, you know, tiny, irrelevant, mustard-like seed-sized facts?
Yeah, you know,
That they
one of those, you know,
omit.
white elephant in the rooms.
Yeah, that was good. That was good, Angel. You're right. You're right. It's true.
Oh, yeah, it's a big seed. It's well, I never thought when I looked into this that everything would be such a lie, and there was so much of it, and just the matrix of it. I think it is quite alarming and shocking. Maybe it doesn't bother other people, but I know that Roxanne mentioned that it is for me every day. And then other things you realise, and I must admit, like, I know that people may follow Enslaved by No Media. I was watching his video today, even on the P900 cameras. He was looking at things and he was saying, does this camera, me looking here, see what I see? No, it doesn't. So with his naked eye, he could see things the camera couldn't see until he zoomed in. So cameras aren't seeing what we see. Only when we're zoomed in do they see more than us, but they don't see what we see. He can see colors. He can see you know, so what I'm trying to say is even cameras, there's something not right. He thinks cameras are a lie as well, and that basically he can read when they're telling you these things are flying higher or faster, for him to be able to see the numbers on the planes in absolute focus, that they have to be quite close, because when he zooms in across waters or across things to 3 miles away, they become blurry, even on a P900. So he just thinks, so even cameras look like a deception. So it's just awful, isn't it? Can't anything be real? I mean, they've made sure they've covered up our past so much. We can't go back.
You brought that up like 2 weeks ago, because like I said, well, I didn't say, but I'm only on here once a week. But what I'd like to do is, if that's a factual thing, is to then get a documentation of the distance that particular item is. Because if it actually only is, 1 mile away and is at the focal range of 3 miles away, that is easily documentable. But
I think
if it says it's 1 mile away on the screen, but
Angel,
he's
called Enslaved by No Media, right? Just watch a few of his videos. Enslaved by No Media.
All right, I will.
Best thing, really, isn't it? Because we're talking about something. You just watch it. If you still say the same after watching what he's done, then yeah. But just watch it, just so you see what he's talking about. He put it out yesterday, the 1st of April. The 1st of April's one. Anyway, we've been going now for getting on for 3.5 hours. 3-ish hours is always a good time on a hangout. Is there anything else anybody'd like to say?
Yes, I want to say I'm honored to be on this panel, and that I'm grateful that we are alive and healthy. We're getting along. We're not arguing. We're diligently and scholarly talking, and it's great.
Oh,
I'd
love
like
you,
to say
Jim.
happy Ishtar Day.
Happy what?
Ishtar Day.
Agree. Thank
The
you
goddess
so much,
Ishtar.
Karen, for having me on as well.
Thank you. Wait a minute, Roxanne. Thank you, Angel. We love you too. And your snake. And your nice little flashing light thing that's going there with your details on. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, everyone. So interesting as ever. What's with the snake angel? What's with the snake angel? Well, at first I thought you had a scarf. At first I thought you had a scarf on. Seriously, man.
It's beautiful.
Well, eventually it will be.
Yeah, but isn't it kind of like cruelty to
That or
animals?
boots.
He's just showing he's in tune with nature.
Well, it's not. It's cruelty to animals. I bet he's not washed his neck today.
This is one of the happiest snakes in the world.
I'm joking.
Astral, do you not
love
like
you.
animals?
I love you, man. Yo, of course I do. Yeah.
Okay. Roxanne, what were you going to say?
Yeah.
Roxanne, what were you going to say? We're waiting now. Oh, she hasn't frozen. She's just.
It's cutting out. Sorry, darling.
That's all right. We can just about hear you now.
Sorry, I can't hear it. You keep cutting out, darling.
Yeah, go for it now.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Roxanne, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, Karen said, can you please share some last thoughts?
Okay. My last thoughts would be, please, please, please try and share awareness with every human interaction you have. Even if it's the most minute piece of awareness sharing, just try and slip it in there in every hour of your day, every hour of your waking day. Try and create ways to slip it in there. Just freely think for a hot second. You can do it in every situation you're in. Just do, have you heard? Have you seen? Do you know? And then just go from there. Just have the confidence to do it. It's not a million miles away. Trust me, it's not a million miles away. It really isn't. It's right there. It's in the grasp of your hand to do it. All you have to do is just take that step and just have that first slight engagement. Forget instant gratification. Forget trying to wake people up right there and then. It's not going to happen. There's many levels to do it. So just start with that small seed and let them go off on their own tangent and let them go and find it for themselves. You're not going to be around for them to wake up. Very rarely, in fact, I think. So if anything, I won't dwell on talking about anything else. I would just say, first and foremost, the globe is a lie. It's a deception. We don't live on a globe. Please try and spread awareness selflessly. Just go around as much as you can. Try with every human interaction you have, from the bank to the doctor to the supermarket to the school to standing at the bus stop, standing at the tube station. Just like I said before, try and be creative. Try and look at your device for too long so you get their connection and they become on a level and they're paying attention and engaged. Yeah, so that's probably what my final thought would be.
Oh, thank you, Roseanne. Levkungfu, Patricia. We haven't had much from Patricia tonight. Patricia, are you there? Give her enough time to turn her microphone on. Patricia, Levkungfu. Patricia, Levkungfu.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a terrible connection, but it's been nice having you on, Roxanne. Nice meeting you. I'll be catching up with your channel and stuff.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey, welcome to the family, Roseanne.
Thank you very much, Karen. Thank you.
Thank you, Lev. Patricia, are you there? Patricia? Oh, she's not falling asleep. Anyway, thank you to everybody for coming.
Fishing.
Oh, yeah, and we've lost Josh as well. Josh has disappeared off. Anyway, thank you to Josh. Thank you to Patricia, who was there probably for most of it. Thank you, Levkungfu, Angel, Jay, Roxanne, Astral. Thank you so much. And we're back tomorrow with Bling Bling, BS of the ISS. Anyway, it's been a really great night. And thank you to everybody. And good night from us. We say goodbye off air, Roseanne. Anyway, much love, flat earth hugs. Mwah! Bye, everybody.
Thanks later.
Hey.